Chapter 2074. Of course, Kamayama Junsaburo wanted to know. When Okubo Aichi said those words, he was very interested. Because he really wanted to know what it was that made Okubo Aichi promise to save Suyun's life. The person who wanted Suyun's life was Kamayama Junsaburo. Okubo Aichi's words didn't count. Buddha's head is a Buddha's head. What else can it be? Kamayama Junsaburo said. Is it like a money printing machine? Something like that. Suyun said. This Buddha's head is like a money printing machine. Its value will increase exponentially. Ms. Chiami spent 6 billion yen to buy it from a relic dealer in Huaxia. Who would want it now? It's worth at least 10 billion yen. Kamayama Junsaburo was shocked when he heard this. Something so valuable? The mafia didn't care about fame or status. They only cared about profit. Hearing such a large sum of money, he would be lying if he wasn't moved. President Kamayama is really naive. You don't know the real purpose of cooperating with others. Suyun said. He's just using you to deal with me. President Kamayama, you're too easy to be used. Ikuin, what's going on? Hearing Suyun's words, Kamayama Junsaburo's heart started to churn. Indeed, Okubo Aichi dared to use him. He will definitely make him pay the price. President Kamayama, don't listen to him. Okubo Aichi said, the Buddha's head is really not that important. It doesn't mean anything to others. It's just something that belongs to our family. And you still dare to promise that you can save his life if you get the Buddha's head? Who gave you the right to do that? Kamayama Junsaburo said. Today this person came to me. His life is in my hands. If you want to control it, you can give me the Buddha's head and his life is yours. Okubo Yoshimasa was annoyed and regretted mentioning the Buddha's head, but he couldn't control his greed. President Kamayama, I was just lying to him. Even if he gave it to us, we still have to kill him. Suyun heard everything clearly. You really don't have any integrity at all. Who would dare to cooperate with you? Just wait to be cheated by you. Suyun, you're about to die, and you're still spouting nonsense. Okubo Rei could no longer suppress the murderous intent in his heart. I'll kill you right now. You'll be buried with the Buddha. Where is he? Take him down. Okubo Aichi's order seemed to have no effect at all, as no one appeared to help him take down Suyun. Kamayama Junsaburo looked at Okubo with a sneer. Do you really think this place is your territory? Ijuin, the brothers in this place only listen to me. Okubo Aichi's body trembled. President Kamayama, of course, the brothers here only listen to you. I'll also listen to you. I'm helping you take down this bastard. The sooner I kill him, the sooner I'll be at ease. Kill him? Then you don't want the Buddha's head? Kamayama Junsaburo glanced at Okubo Aichi. Okubo Aichi gritted his teeth and made up his mind. No. As long as I kill him, President Kamayama can vent his anger. Now that Okubo Aichi wants Suyun to die, who knows what kind of tricks he can play while he's still alive? In the face of this situation that he can't control, he thinks that killing Suyun is the best solution. Even if he didn't have the Buddha's head, he would still kill him. At least he could get something else. Kamayama Junsaburo nodded. I'm not that angry. I have a good mentality. Suyun smiled in his heart. He could even guess what Kamayama Junsaburo was thinking. This guy's interest in the Buddha's head was far beyond their expectations. Since you don't want the Buddha's head, I'll take it back. It'll be mine, right? Kamayama Junsaburo said in a questioning tone. But he was telling a story that no one could go against. Okubo Aichi was stunned. President Kamayama, we agreed that I'll find a way to lure him here, and you'll be responsible. I didn't say that I won't be responsible. Kamayama Junsaburo said. But if he can give me the Buddha's head, why should I kill him? This isn't even your territory. If you can promise to give him a life, why can't I promise to give him a life? Okubo Aichi was completely speechless. From the beginning, Okubo Aichi felt that Kamayama Junsaburo didn't give him any face. If it wasn't for Suyun's appearance, Kamayama Junsaburo wouldn't have come out of the wooden house. He didn't care about Okubo Aichi at all. In Kamayama Junsaburo's eyes, Okubo Aichi was just a bait to lure Suyun. As long as Suyun took the bait, Okubo Aichi was nothing. He was nothing. He was just a piece of trash, a piece of trash. Now that Su-yin was in front of Kamayama Junzaburo, what use did Okubo Aichi have? He was useless. Kamayama Junzaburo didn't believe that Okubo Aichi had the ability to expand the Okubo family. He knew that after Okubo Aichi framed Okubo Chiami, the Okubo family would collapse. Of course, he wouldn't care about a piece of trash. President Kamayama is really smart. Su-yin smiled. I didn't believe him when he said he would spare my life. But I do believe you when you said you would spare my life. I believe that President Kamayama is a man of his word. Kamayama Junzaburo laughed. Of course, that's how Kamayama does things. Keep his word. Okubo Aichi gritted his teeth. If you kept your word, you wouldn't have changed your mind. These Yakuza couldn't be trusted. They changed their minds so easily. What should he do now? President Kamayama, don't be fooled by him. He has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Okubo Aichi hurriedly said. Otherwise he wouldn't have fooled Chiami. Chiami wouldn't have given him such an important Buddha head. You have to be careful of this guy. Don't be fooled by him. I'm not as stupid as you think. Kamayama Junzaburo said. I don't need you to teach me how to do things. Su-yin gave him a thumbs up. He had seen through Kamayama Junzaburo. As long as he said what he wanted to say, he would soon lose his mind. The more Okubo Aichi reminded him, the more he felt that Aichi was too talkative. President Kamayama is really smart. You know what to do now. Su-yin smiled. I like to work with smart people, not arrogant people. I think I can talk to President Kamayama about the Buddha head. Kamayama Junzaburo was very satisfied with this answer. Since Mr. Su has this idea, that's great. Then let's put aside all our prejudices and talk about the conditions. President Kamayama. You can't do this. Okubo Aichi was stunned. Why did he become an outsider? Kamayama Junzaburo stared at him coldly. Why couldn't he do this? Didn't Okubo Aichi talk to Su-yin without his permission? This was his territory. Whatever he wanted to talk about, he would talk about it. No one had the right to interfere with his business, especially Okubo Aichi. He thought too highly of himself. Do I need your permission to do whatever I want? When Kamayama Junzaburo said this, Nakata Kanzuya stared at Okubo Aichi. He meant that if Okubo Aichi continued to talk nonsense, the Yaihekai would not be polite to him. Okubo Aichi gritted her teeth in annoyance. She shouldn't have come here today. Kamayama Junzaburo was a treacherous person with no credibility. She didn't know what Okubo Aichi was thinking. Why did he want to talk about cooperation with him? He deserved it. He brought this upon himself. He wouldn't have died if he didn't ask for it. Okubo Aichi's mind was filled with how to pull Kamayama Junzaburo back to his side. If he was tricked by Su-yin, they would be in danger. Chapter 2075. President Kamayama. The Buddha's head has been taken back to Huaxia by his friends. He can't get it back. Okubo-mai said. Don't be fooled by his tricks. He must be trying to drive a wedge between us and use it to make things difficult for us. Su-yin clapped his hands. Well said. You think I can't get it back, so why are you talking about the Buddha's head with me? You know whether I can get the Buddha's head back or not. That's why you're talking to me. Okubo-mai was speechless. She didn't know how to explain. President Kamayama, you can choose to believe him or me. Su-yin said. If you're willing to cooperate with me, we can talk about the Buddha's head. After all, my life is more important than the Buddha's head. Kamayama Junzaburo looked at Su-yin, trying to see how much of his words were true and how much was false. I believe that the Buddha's head is not as important as your life. Kamayama Junzaburo nodded. But how can you guarantee that the Buddha's head? If I say that I will give you the Buddha's head now, it will be a lie, Su-yin said. But if you're willing to cooperate with me, everything else can be discussed. Okubo-mai tried to stop him. Don't believe him. President, you have to believe me. He must have some tricks up his sleeve. What's the point of saying all this now? I have a trick up my sleeve? You're the one who set this up. I'm the one who fell into your trap. Su-yin smiled. President Kamayama, do you think a person who fell into your trap will still play tricks? Kamayama Junzaburo had already made his decision. He knew how to solve this problem. I think our cooperation should end here. Kamayama Junsaburo smiled. You don't have the Buddha's head. Okubo Mai's expression changed. President, I promised you that as long as we cooperate, we can discuss any amount of money you want. I will be the head of the Okubo family. You're too sure, Kamayama Junsaburo said. Compared to whether or not you can become the head of the Okubo clan, I'd rather bet on the Buddha's head. I'll definitely become one. But I'm sure he won't take the Buddha's head out. Okubo Mai said, President, Qian Mei is now suspected of murder and has been taken away. As long as the confessions between us brothers are the same, she will definitely not be able to come out. Kamayama Junsaburo smiled. Actually, if the Okubo family didn't have Chiami Okubo, they would fall in a short time. Moreover, if Okubo Chiami is defeated, the Abe family will be very happy. Kamayama Junsaburo also knows this. However, he felt that if that was the case, what benefit would it bring to him? After the Okubo clan had completely fallen, the Abe clan would no longer need to hire him to cause trouble for the Okubo clan. What benefits would Kamayama Junsaburo have then? Relying on the protection fees from the Okubo clan? But once the Okubo family's Chime was finished, who else would have the ability to make money? No one else had the ability to make money. How could someone who didn't have the ability to make money satisfy Kamayama Junsaburo's appetite? Also, losing a Buddha's head that was worth 10 billion yen, Kamayama Junsaburo really didn't want to lose it. After thinking about it, Kamayama Junsaburo felt that changing the way of cooperation might be the most beneficial for him. If Chiami Okubo can't come out because of the murder, it won't benefit me at all. Kamayama Junsaburo shook his head with a smile. Ikuin, I suddenly understood something. I would rather have a capable opponent than an incompetent subordinate. Okubo Mai was startled. He knew that the subordinate Kamayama Junsaburo was talking about was him. President Kamayama, you can't just change your mind like this, right? Okubo Mai couldn't believe it. Just because of a Buddha's head? Isn't a Buddha's head enough to change my mind? Kamayama Junsaburo said. A Buddha's head can make you think that this place is your territory. Do you understand what I mean? Okubo Mai was really angry. If he wasn't too greedy, this wouldn't have happened. President Kamayama is indeed a straightforward person, Suyin said. Then I'll have to trouble you two. Kamayama Junsaburo smiled. Suyin-san, if you can bring the Buddha's head to me first, we can talk about anything. You heard it too. Right now, Miss Qianmei is facing charges of intentional homicide. I can help her, if you are willing to. Suyin nodded. A Buddha's head to save Miss Kiami's life. This is a good deal. President Kamayama, I promise you that I will bring the Buddha's head to you. Miss Chiami gave it to me. It's not too much for me to take it back to save her. Su-yun-san is a righteous person. Kamayama Junsaburo said. I can forget about our previous conflicts. I'll give you time to bring the Buddha's head to me. Suyin said. If Miss Chiami didn't kill them, then you can help me find out if it was Mr. Kamayama. This is too easy. Kamayama Junsaburo laughed. The one in front of you is the real murderer. Suyin-san, as long as I have the Buddha's head, I can make everyone in Okubo's generation go to jail because of this. That won't be necessary. The culprit can't be forgiven. The others can be forgiven. Suyin said. Miss Chiami isn't someone who doesn't care about friendship. I hope that President Kamayama can arrange this in 2 days. I promise that I will bring the Buddha's head to you in 2 days. Kamayama Junsaburo said. I believe that you are a righteous person. I will wait for you. Then, Kamayama Junsaburo pointed at Okubo Mai and said, Lock him up first. President Kamayama, you can't be so greedy. Okubo Mai said hysterically. But no sound could be heard in the forest. Okubo Mai looked at the situation blankly. She didn't know what to do. She was scared, really scared. President Kamayama, we will make a deal in 2 days. You want the Buddha's head and I want Ms. Chiami to come out safely. Suyin said. It's a deal. Kamayama Junsaburo nodded. Of course it's a deal. As long as I can see the Buddha's head, everything will be fine. Then I will leave first. Suyin didn't look back and left the forest. He needed to come up with a plan in the shortest time possible. Lin Ge had returned to China. He needed to call Wan Guangxiao and ask them to arrange for Lin Ge to take the earliest flight back to Japan. Of course, Lin Ge couldn't come back empty-handed. He had to bring the Buddha's head. Okubo Mai looked at Suyin leaving and Okubo Mai being detained. She didn't feel good. President Komayama, if there's nothing else, should I leave too? Ms. Mai, to be honest, I don't want you to leave. But I know you have to go. Komayama Junsaburo said. I have something for you to do. Inform your two brothers that I want to meet them tonight, including you. There are some things that we need to talk about. I understand, President. I'll inform them now. Okubo Mai sighed in relief. Leaving this place was the most important thing for her. The atmosphere was too scary. After everyone left, Nakata Kazuo said, President, are we really going to let that Suyun get away so easily? You have been with me for so many years. Don't you understand such a simple thing? Komayama Junsaburo said, There are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal benefits. We will cooperate with whoever gives us more benefits. Can you understand this logic? Nakata Kazuo nodded. Yes, President. I understand. Good. You have to be like this in the future. You only care about benefits. Nothing else matters. Komayama Junsaburo smiled. I really want to see what a Buddha's head worth billions looks like. Chapter 2076. What should we do with Okubo Aichi? Nakata Kanzuya was startled. After all, that guy was also from the Okubo family. It wouldn't be appropriate to keep him in custody. Do you need me to teach you that? Find his brothers and talk to them. Communicate with them and collect evidence of his murder. Komayama Junsaburo said. As long as we get the Buddha head, we'll find a way to clear Okubo Aichi's name. Besides, I do need a capable person to support the Okubo family. Otherwise, do you think the Abe family would need our help if Okubo Aichi was in charge? Nakata Kanzuya nodded in agreement. Only now did he understand the guild leader's true intentions. It seemed that sometimes, one couldn't simply consider things when doing things. One had to consider the various aspects of one's needs. President, I'll do it right away. Nakata Kanzuya said. But don't you need to personally deal with the communication between the higher-ups? I'll have dinner with a few people tonight. You just need to do what you're supposed to do. Komayama Junsaburo said lightly. Yes. Nakata Kanzuya nodded. 2 days passed quickly. Lin Ge never thought that he would have to fly back so soon after leaving Tokyo. This was really a torment of sea, land, and air. If it wasn't for Wan Guangxiao personally communicating with him, he wouldn't have been able to catch the earliest flight. Suyin also had a hard time these 2 days. He couldn't visit Okubo Aichi at all because the situation wasn't clear yet. She was still temporarily detained. The only thing that could help her now was the bargaining chip in Suyun's hand. After receiving Lin Ge at the airport, the two quickly got in the car. Do as I say. The two didn't exchange any pleasantries. Suyin went straight to the point. He knew that time waited for no man. The longer they delayed, the more the evidence would be blurred, and the worse it would be for Okubo Aichi. Lin Ge nodded and quickly opened the wooden box for Suyin to see. Suyin saw the Buddha head and felt more at ease. Okay, then we'll go now. If the other party changes their mind, you know what we have to do, right? Understood. Lin Ge said. It doesn't matter if you hit him hard. Just treat it as a commemoration of the Chi-Chi incident. Today was indeed a little special. Suyin smiled faintly. Since you've come to your senses, let's show them what we're capable of. Suyin had asked for this car from the Okubo family. Most of the people in the Okubo family still hoped that Miss Chime could be cleared of her crimes and find her innocence. After all, only when Miss Chime was in charge of the family could they continue to work in the Okubo family safely. In other words, more than half of the Okubo family could provide support to Suyin in other ways. Suyin started the car and contacted Komayama Junsaburo. Just a few hours ago, after Suyin confirmed that Lin Ge had boarded the plane, he contacted Komayama Junsaburo and explained the current situation. Komayama Junsaburo knew that the Buddha's head was coming and took it very seriously. After calculating the time, he arranged a meeting at a club under the Righteous Peace Society's name. President Kamayama, the Buddha's head has arrived safely. Su Yun said. I'm bringing the Buddha's head to see you now. Shouldn't you also have your people prepare to help Miss Chime clear her name? As soon as I receive a call from Miss Chime, the Buddha's head will be yours immediately. Of course. Then you go first. You don't need to worry about those things. I've arranged everything. As long as I say the word, Miss Okubo will be cleared of all charges within an hour. At that time, it will be Okubo Aichi who will go in. Kamayama Junsaburo said. I've already told you about the banquet I've arranged. Your brothers have also just landed and are covered in dust, so they should relax a bit. I know, President Kamayama, means that you won't do anything without seeing the Buddha's head. Su Yun said. I believe that you're a trustworthy person. I'll be there soon. According to the address that Kamayama Junsaburo sent to Su Yun used the GPS and went directly to the club under the name of the Righteous Peace Society. When Su Yun and the others arrived, there were already many cars parked in the parking lot outside the club. Kamayama Junsaburo must have also made the most stringent security arrangements. Just as Su Yun expected, when they followed the person at the door to Kamayama Junsaburo's room, there were 30 bodyguards inside and outside the room, all of them armed with guns. Lin Ge looked at Su Yun cautiously. He felt that this was a bit unreliable. Su Yun gave him a look, indicating that everything should be done according to the plan. If there were any accidents, they should capture the leader first. Oh, I've been waiting for 2 distinguished guests to come. Kamayama Junsaburo smiled and ordered Nakata Kanzuya. Go, pour tea for the distinguished guests. Su Yun smiled slightly. President Kamayama, I'm not the one you've been waiting for, right? It's the thing in my hand. Kamayama Junsaburo raised his head and laughed. Ha ha ha, look at what you're saying. The Buddha's head is indeed the treasure I want, but you are also the friends I want to make. Then let's not beat around the bush. Su Yun took the wooden box from Lin Ji's hands and placed it on the table. I've shown it to President Kamayama first. The rest is up to you. Kamayama Junsaburo pointed at his phone and said, everything is under my control. Su Yun opened the wooden box, and a colorful and worn stone Buddha's head appeared in front of everyone. President Kamayama, this is the Buddha's head. This is a cultural relic from Huaxia that has existed for thousands of years. It's worth a lot. As long as Miss Chiaki is safe, it's yours. Lin Ji's heart started to beat faster. That's right, it's a stone Buddha's head, not a golden Buddha's head. Su Yun gambled again, a huge gamble. He gambled that Kamayama Junsaburo didn't know what the Buddha's head was. That's why he got the country to prepare this Buddha's head to make up the numbers. Phew. At this moment, it was as if the two of them were playing Russian roulette with their lives on the line. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Su Yun, you're indeed trustworthy. Kamayama Junsaburo laughed again. You really brought the Buddha's head. Good, very good, very good. However, just as Kamayama Junsaburo agreed, he suddenly smashed the glass next to him. This was a signal. Hua. The 20 people in the room all took out their pistols. They aimed at Su Yun and Lin Ge. Su Yun-kun, do you think I'm stupid? Kamayama Junsaburo's expression became very dark. Yes, I've never seen the Buddha's head. But do you think I didn't ask around? A pure gold Buddha's head has turned into stone? You're really a great magician. Su Yun tried to stay calm. He lost the bet, but he couldn't accept his fate. Some things, accepting one's fate was equivalent to giving up. President Kamayama, who told you that the Buddha's head is pure gold? Su Yun asked. How can you believe that? Kamayama Junsaburo was startled. He had asked Okubo Ayumi about this. Could Okubo Ayumi be lying to him? Think about it. If someone wanted to set us up, they would have said something completely different from the Buddha's head. They would have made you believe them and misunderstand me. Su Yun said. I'm 100% honest. If you don't believe me, you can come and verify it. The silent man beside Kamayama Junsaburo must be the cultural relic expert he hired. Su Yun was sure of this. Judging from his scholarly appearance, it was obvious. Kamayama Junsaburo was stunned when he heard Su Yun's confidence. Did he really fall for Okubo Ayumi's trick? Su Yun-kun, you have to think carefully. If you lie to me, Okubo-san's fate will be in trouble. Kamayama Junsaburo said. My people can send Okubo Ayumi in at any time and bring her out. They can also bring Okubo Ayumi back at any time and let her continue to be investigated. If we waste time, it'll be a waste of her opportunity. Suyin nodded. Of course I know. I know it too well. Let your people check the goods. Chapter 2077. Even though Suyin was full of confidence, Kamayama Junsaburo was still hesitant. Was Suyin telling the truth? Or was Okubo Aichi telling the truth? He couldn't completely trust these two people. The one who had the Buddha's head was Suyin, and the Okubo guard who had seen the Buddha's head with his own eyes was already dead. The only one who could get information about the Buddha's head from the Okubo guard was Okubo Mai. It wasn't easy for Kamayama Junsaburo to make this choice. He knew that if he wasn't careful, he would screw things up completely. If things went completely beyond his calculations, then wouldn't all his previous efforts have been in vain? Furthermore, Kamayama Junsaburo didn't know what to do with the two people in front of him. They were both experts, and he didn't dare to let his guard down. President Kamayama, you can choose not to trust me or Okubo Aichi. But you should trust your expert, right? Let him see how much the Buddha's head is worth, and the truth will be revealed. Suyin said casually. Kamayama Junsaburo didn't have any other choice. He could only trust the expert he invited. Oshima-san, I'll have to trouble you. The Oshima expert seemed to be very proud of himself. He nodded slowly. Since he had taken Kamayama Junsaburo's money, he had to do something for him. Otherwise he wouldn't have a good ending. Oshima said faintly, Mr. Su, could you please? If the expert wants to check the goods, come to me. Suyin said, before Okubo-san's matter is solved, I won't give the Buddha's head to anyone else. If President Kamayama wants to take it by force, the Buddha's head will die with me. Kamayama Junsaburo was startled. Looking at Suyun's serious expression, perhaps the Buddha's head was really valuable. Maybe Okubo Aichi was just spouting nonsense to protect herself. That guy was an untrustworthy person. Oshima-san, let's follow Suyun's instructions. Kamayama Junsaburo said. Mr. Oshima nodded. He stood up and walked over to Suyin and Lin Ge. Suyin looked like he was protecting a treasure. He blocked the Buddha's head and Mr. Oshima in front of him, as if he was afraid that the other party would take it away from him. However, all of this was just an illusion. The real threat came from Lin Ge. Lin Ge used his fingertips to push Oshima's head. It was no different from a dagger stabbing someone's back. With the cooperation of Suyin and Lin Ge, no one noticed this. Kamayama Junsaburo and the others were also focused on the Buddha's head. No one thought too much about it. Mr. Oshima was panicking, but he didn't dare to say anything because the two Chinese people were too scary. He didn't move an inch and was very calm. Oshima-san, please inspect the goods. Suyin smiled and said, you must see it clearly. This is too important. I believe in Kamayama Junsaburo's trust in you. You will not let him down. Oshima knew what Suyin meant. He didn't dare to say anything. He took a deep breath and started to inspect the Buddha's head. From nowhere, there is no place to go. There is no beginning and no end, no birth and no death. Suyin said to Kamayama Junsaburo while Oshima was inspecting the Buddha's head. President Kamayama, if you believe in Buddhism, you must treat the Buddha's head well. Kamayama Junsaburo was stunned. He didn't believe in Buddhism. He only believed in money. As long as he had money, he didn't care if it was a Buddha's head or something else. When the tribulation of no beginning comes, there is a so-called beginning. Before the Shakyamuni Buddha that we know of, there was already a Buddha. This thing is very mysterious. Suyin, did you know that this Buddha's head was stolen from an ancient tomb thousands of years ago? It might have existed even longer. I don't know much about Buddhism. Mr. Suyin, you are really knowledgeable, Kamayama Junsaburo said. However, what Suyin said was useless. So this Buddha's head is probably from a very long time ago? Is it the earliest Buddha's head in the world? Suyin shook his head. Of course not. If it was the earliest, it would be worth more than 10 billion yen. It would be worth 10 billion US dollars. Kamayama Junsaburo swallowed his saliva. If he could get the earliest Buddha's head, he would be extremely rich. The earliest Buddha's head was carved from sandalwood during the Buddha's transformation period. Su Yun. There is a legend that Buddha went to the heavenly palace and didn't return for 3 months according to his birth mother, Madame Maya. At that time, the king of Miguayu worshipped Buddha so much that he fell ill. Therefore, he asked Venerable Mujianlian to bring the craftsman to the heavenly palace to see Buddha's head. The Buddha's head was made from sandalwood. It was 5 feet tall and stood in a standing position. Its right hand was holding the mudra of fearlessness, and its left hand was holding the mudra of compassion. It was wearing a cassock and the front of its body was in a wavy pattern. Where is this Buddha's head now? Kamayama Junsaburo asked curiously. Su Yun pointed upwards. You have to ask the people in the sky. I really don't know. Kamayama Junsaburo laughed. Mr. Su, you really know how to joke. That's just a legend. Ha ha ha, I'm so funny. I actually believed it. President Kamayama, the legend might not be true, but it might not be false either. Su Yun. You should believe in Buddha. Otherwise he will not bless you. I don't believe in Buddha. I only believe in myself. Kamayama Junsaburo said with certainty. Buddha is not necessarily more powerful than me, Su Yun sighed. You can't say things like that. President Kamayama, if Buddha hears you, he will definitely punish you. At this time, Lin Gu exerted some force on his wrist. The Oshima expert finally raised his head. President Kamayama, this Buddha's head is quite old. It's really not simple. The Oshima expert's words were not ambiguous at all. It was completely out of Su Yun and Lin Ji's expectations. Their cooperation was too good. According to my judgment, this Buddha's head is at least 1,000 years old. I don't dare to estimate its value. The Oshima expert said. 10 billion yen is far from its true value. Kamayama Junsaburo's face lit up when he heard this. Su Yun and Lin Gu also heaved a sigh of relief. This expert was very helpful. However, Nakata Kanzuya noticed that something was wrong with the Oshima expert. He also saw Lin Ji's hand that was controlling the Oshima expert. President. It's a trap. Nakata Kanzuya suddenly roared and took out his gun to shoot at Lin Gu. Lin Ji's reaction was much faster than Nakata Kanzuya expected. He turned sideways and quickly pulled the Oshima expert aside. The bullet pierced through the expert's arm. Lin Gu was not hurt at all. This kind of sudden change would always slow down a person's reaction. Su Yun did not stop there. He immediately rushed towards Kamayama Junsaburo. Before the guns could aim at him, he controlled Kamayama Junsaburo and made him stand in front of him. Then, Su Yun quickly retreated and hid between Kamayama Junsaburo and the wall, completely blocking all the shooting routes. He was in a safe position. While everyone's attention was focused on Su Yun, Lin Gu imitated Su Yun's method. He used the Oshima expert as a meat shield and retreated to the wall. Everything happened so quickly that Kamayama Junsaburo did not even understand what was going on. However, the suffocating feeling Su Yun gave him made him realize that he was in trouble. Tell your men to put down their guns. Su Yun shouted angrily. Other than the groaning of the Oshima expert, there was no other sound in the room. The atmosphere was eerily quiet. Chapter 2078. Kamayama Junsaburo was able to become the leader of the Yashiwa Kumi, so he was naturally someone who had been through a lot. Facing this kind of crisis, his reaction was naturally calmer than the others. Seeing that Kamayama Junsaburo didn't react, Su Yun increased the strength of his fingers. As long as he exerted a little more force, he could break Kamayama Junsaburo's neck. Tell your people to put down their guns. This is the last warning, Su Yun said as he relaxed his grip, giving Kamayama Junsaburo a chance to breathe and speak. Kamayama Junsaburo took a deep breath. The lack of oxygen made him feel dizzy. Put down your guns. Since the president had spoken, the Yashiwa Kumi naturally didn't dare to act rashly. However, in this situation, they didn't dare to give up on threatening Su Yun. At this moment, everyone's gaze was focused on Nakata Kanzuya. Nakata Kanzuya wasn't under their control, so he should be able to calmly give orders. My words don't carry weight? You're aiming at me. Kamayama Junsaburo was slightly angry. At this time, he didn't want his subordinates to disobey him. Nakata Kanzuya was the first to put down his gun. Only then did the others follow suit and put down their weapons. Suyun-kun, what you're doing is meaningless. Kamayama Junsaburo saw that the tense atmosphere had eased a little, so he said lightly, "If anything happens to me, no one will be able to help you solve Okubo-san's problem." President Kamayama, you still have the time to think about other people's problems? Suyun said. The truth will come out eventually. Even if you don't help Okubo-san, I can still think of other ways. But who will protect your life? Suyun had to respond in a more forceful way. I'll give you 1 minute to think about it, and then make the arrangements. Immediately order your people to follow the plan, and send Okubo Ayumi to the police station. Clear Kiyomi's name. If I don't receive a call from her in 1 hour, you don't dare. Kamayama Junsaburo said. Do you think you can leave alive if you kill me? Suyun sneered. You have no way of knowing if I can leave this place alive. Because I can guarantee that you won't be able to live until then. Do you want to make a bet? Suyun-kun, you are indeed a capable person. Kamayama Junsaburo said. I have experienced many things in my life, but I have never been as uncertain as today. It's good that you know, Suyun said. If you've made up your mind, then do what you have to do. As long as Okubo-san is safe, I guarantee that you will be safe as well. Do you think I can still trust you? Kamayama Junsaburo said. You have already lost my trust. Suyun realized that this guy might not be as easy to deal with as he thought. I think I have the confidence to take the gamble. Kamayama Junsaburo said. I'm your last bargaining chip. You don't dare to do anything to me, right? Hearing Kamayama Junsaburo's words, his subordinates became alert again and prepared to use force. My men have already surrounded this place, Kamayama Junsaburo said. I have 1 life, 2 lives, and Okubo-san's freedom. Who do you think has more bargaining chips? This old fox is indeed not simple. He has no intention of cooperating with them. Suyun-kun, you disappoint me. Kamayama Junsaburo said. Actually, I have already arranged everything. I only need a real Buddha's head to solve the problem. Why are you asking for trouble? I will also give you time to think about it. I have already arranged everything. If I don't call you in an hour, my men will destroy all the evidence against Okubo-san. By then it will be too late. You won't even have the chance to regret it. President Kamayama, are you going to fall out with me? Suyun said. Seems like you don't care about your life. Kamayama Junsaburo sneered. My life in exchange for both of yours. What will you choose? Suyun-kun, save it. You risked your life to save Okubo-san. That means you are a righteous person. If you are the only one facing me today, I don't doubt that you will kill me. Kamayama Junsaburo paused and continued. But, your brothers are here today. Even if you don't think for yourself, you will think for your brothers. If you kill me, you will die here. This point really hit Suyun's heart. Suyun will indeed think about Lin Ji's safety. All of this had been seen through by this old fox. Suyun felt that his trump cards were really getting fewer and fewer. Suyun-kun, think carefully. What do you want to do? Kamayama Junsaburo said. Do you think the hostage in your brother's hands means anything? I only need to say a word now, and my people will be able to break through his meat shield. And I believe that even if I do that, you will not dare to attack me, because Okubo-san's matter is not solved yet. This guy was very good at studying people's psychology. Suyun could not do anything in front of him. President Kamayama, you can't do this. You have to guarantee my safety. Mr. Oshima was scared out of his wits. His life was worthless in the eyes of the other party. Kamayama Junsaburo laughed. I can't even guarantee my own safety. How can I guarantee yours? President Kamayama, don't be so smart. Suyun said. How can you exchange your life for mine? Who gave you such confidence? Did you arrange these men inside and outside? Of course, Kamayama Junsaburo said. I know you are strong, but I also know that 2 fists cannot fight 4 hands. You will not be able to escape from my encirclement safely. What if your men are all disabled? Suyun asked again. Kamayama Junsaburo was dazed. That was impossible. There were 20 people in the room, and there were more than 10 outside. He had arranged hundreds of people around the club. Unless Su Yun had hundreds of people to fight against him, there was no way they could escape. Just as Kamayama Junsaburo was hesitating, gunshots were heard from outside. The cries of hundreds of people soon filled the entire club. The intense gunshots lasted for more than 3 minutes. Kamayama Junsaburo's mood became more and more gloomy. What was happening outside? Nakata Kanzuya wanted to take his men out to have a look, but the situation did not allow him to leave. Soon, the two of them knew what was going on outside. After the gunshots outside the room, the people who started the fight had already rushed in. Bang! The door was kicked open. The two figures did not avoid the bodyguards with guns in the room and directly rushed in. Behind them, more than a dozen people quickly rushed in and confronted the bodyguards in the room with guns. The two leaders were the two weirdos, Wu Hao and Luo Tuesday. In fact, the two of them still did not understand how Su Yun found them, but since Su Yun came looking for them for help, the two of them naturally did not dare to refuse. If Su Yun could find them once, he could find them twice. They did not dare to offend Su Yun. After hearing Su Yun's request, Wu Hao and Luo Tu borrowed more than 100 people from the famous Yamaguchi Gumi. The leader of the Yamaguchi Gumi was more than happy to help them. Wu Hao and Luo Tu could help them a lot in the future. The Yamaguchi Gumi had tens of thousands of members, so they would not be stingy with just 100 people. Not only did they provide the people, they also provided weapons. Wu Hao and Luo Tu did everything according to Su Yun's plan. Su Yun's car was equipped with a GPS, so it was easy for them to find this place. With more than 100 people, they launched a sneak attack. Their weapons were better, so they killed all of Kamayama Junsaburo's men in less than 3 minutes. Everything happened too suddenly for Kamayama Junsaburo, but it was not surprising for Su Yun. Everything was going according to his plan. In other words, Su Yun had thought of this a long time ago. Everything was prepared for the unexpected. That was why he could face everything calmly. Chapter 2079. Kamayama Junsaburo didn't expect that everything would happen so suddenly. It was so sudden that he couldn't accept it at all. Mr. Yin, we're not late, right? Luo Tu saw that Su Yun had Kamayama Junsaburo under his control. He knew it must have been a close call. Otherwise, Kamayama Junsaburo wouldn't have fallen into Su Yun's hands. Luckily, they came in time. Su Yun smiled. You're not late at all. Just in time. Thanks, bro. Master Yin, look at what you're saying. It's our duty to serve you. Wu Hao's flattery immediately followed. It's our honor. Mr. Yin, please don't be so polite. We can't accept it. I'm really grateful. Su Yun, if you didn't come in time, Mr. Kamayama wouldn't have cooperated with me. I'm in a bad situation. Wu Hao stared at Kamayama Junsaburo. They were familiar with each other. He had helped Kamayama Junsaburo a lot. Kamayama Junsaburo personally invited the two of them to harass the Okubo family's construction site, but Kamayama Junsaburo didn't expect that the two of them would give up halfway because of Su Yun's appearance. What made Kamayama Junsaburo even more unbelievable was that they brought people to help Su Yun deal with him. And they brought so many people. Mr. Kamayama, you've disappointed me. Luo Tu said. After the last incident, you called me and asked why I left. I told you that you couldn't afford to offend someone you shouldn't. I didn't expect you to not believe me and continue to provoke Mr. Yun. You're really something. Mr. Luo, Mr. Wu, we've known each other for a long time. You can't be so ruthless, right? Kamayama Junsaburo said. You brought people to clear my place? Mr. Kamayama, they're all brothers of Yamaguchi Gumi. If you think you can afford to offend them, go ahead. Wu Hao said. But let me tell you, if you don't handle Mr. Yun's matter well, it won't just be you and your brother's misfortune. Luo Tu sneered. Yeah, think about your wife and children. You should know what to do. If you die, do you think they'll have a good life? Kamayama Junsaburo's expression changed. He knew that Yamaguchi Gumi didn't care about what they did. If he died, his family would be in trouble too. It was an open secret that Yamaguchi Gumi's eldest daughter. If Kamayama Junsaburo, he would have done it already. Kamayama Junsaburo's SSSSSS. Kamayama Junsaburo's mind says. SSS. BTS not kill. Estes. S. Teat. Tites heat tites gets get. Tease. Things were out of his control, and he couldn't take it anymore. Have you thought it through? Mr. Yun doesn't have that much patience, Luo Tu said. Give me an answer and I'll let you go. Su Yun smiled and said, Mr. Kamayama, it seems like you don't have any other choice. Good. Kamayama Junsaburo's expression darkened. I really don't have any other choice. As you wish, Ms. Okubo will return home safe and sound tonight. Under Su Yun's order, Lin Gu threw the injured expert aside, walked to the table, and gave Kamayama Junsaburo's phone. Kamayama Junsaburo took the phone, took a deep breath, and dialed a number. Mr. Kamayama, your orders, the person on the other side of the phone said. Hand over the evidence you prepared to the police station, and let the arranged lawyer talk to the other party. You have to bail Miss Okubo out as soon as possible. Kamayama Junsaburo said. Also, Okubo-e is no longer useful. Hand her over to the police. Yes. I understand, Mr. Kamayama. Kamayama Junsaburo was unwilling to give up. After Ms. Okubo is released, tell her to call Su Yun-san immediately. Hurry up and do your job. Yes. After giving the order, Kamayama Junsaburo looked at Su Yun. Su Yun-san, are you satisfied with the result? Very satisfied. Su Yun said. But before I receive the call, I'll have to trouble you for a while. Humph. Kamayama Junsaburo wanted to pretend that he didn't care, but his voice was filled with helplessness and anger. He had never felt so defeated before, and he couldn't accept it even now. For so many years, Kamayama Junsaburo had always been scheming against others, and it was always others who walked into his trap. He had never been completely fooled like today. Ever since he met Su Yun had set up a huge trap for him. Everything in this trap was built around Kamayama Junsaburo, so a few minutes ago, Kamayama Junsaburo thought that everything was under his control. But now he had completely lost control, and could only be slaughtered. Mr. Kamayama, this is fate, Wu Hao said. It's not necessarily a bad thing for you that things can end today. If you really pissed off Mr. Yun, the consequences would be even worse. At least you're still alive, so be grateful. Kamayama Junsaburo sneered. Then I should really thank Su Yun-san for giving me a chance. Mr. Kamayama, you have to fight for your own opportunities, Su Yun said. It's hard to say who caused this situation. But there's one thing I really want to thank you for. If you didn't help to capture Okubo Aichi and collect all the evidence, I really don't know who could help Miss Okubo clear her name. Is this how you thank me? No one could understand Kamayama Junsaburo's feelings. He was struggling too much. I left you a way out. I didn't kill you all, Su Yun said. Otherwise, do you think we would still be able to talk on equal terms? Your family might have been taken away by Yamaguchi's people. Luo Tu said, Kamayama, you should really thank Mr. Yin. When Yamaguchi knew you were in trouble, he didn't plan to let you live. He really wanted to kill your family. It was our Master Yin who warned us not to let Team Leader Yamaguchi do that. If Team Leader Yamaguchi does that, the two of us will suffer. Yes, Wu Hao said. That's why we did everything we could to protect your family. We didn't let Yamaguchi do anything. We did all this to give face to Mr. Yin. Otherwise you wouldn't have ended so simply. Kamayama Junsaburo looked at Su Yin in disbelief. He felt that Su Yin was the one who caused him to lose everything. How could Su Yin help him again? Impossible. This was definitely impossible, right? Don't harm my family, Su Yin said. This is the rule in our world. Although Dongying doesn't seem to have this rule, I have to follow it. After all, I'm from Huaxia. Furthermore, you have more or less helped me in this matter. President Kamayama, we don't owe each other anything now, so don't play any tricks. Kamayama Junsaburo sneered. Don't harm my family. Well said. But I really don't want to thank you at all. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have ended up like this. This time, the Iha society suffered a great loss. They suffered a heavy blow in all aspects, especially their social status. After today, the Iha society would never be able to raise their heads in front of the Yamaguchi Gumi, especially Kamayama Junsaburo. He would never be valued by the Abe family. Once they lost the protection of the political family, what future would the Iha society have? They would probably lose everything. After all, there were many mafia organizations like his in Dongying. After Kamayama Junsaburo lost his advantage, he would have nothing. Chapter 2080. The wait was torturous, and Kamayama Junsaburo's patience was wearing thin bit by bit. He trusted the efficiency of his subordinates, but it was only because of the tedious procedures that needed to be done. Finally, Suyin received a call from Okubo Chiami. She sounded surprised. Suyin, how did you do it? She couldn't believe that she had been exonerated just like that. She had been under strict surveillance for the past 2 days, and she hadn't even had the opportunity to see a lawyer. The police didn't allow her to have any contact with outsiders before certain things were confirmed. Under such circumstances, Okubo Chiami received the news that she was cleared of all charges. She couldn't believe it. The people waiting for Okubo Chiami outside were from the Ihakai. They asked her to contact Suyin immediately. She was surprised when she found out that it was Suyin who had done all this. Her driver has already been waiting to pick her up according to Suyin's instructions. After receiving Okubo Chiami, the driver who has been with her for many years finally breathed a sigh of relief. Go home first. I'll explain it to you later, Suyin said. I still have some things to take care of here. Okay, I'll wait for you. Okubo Chiami nodded. Now, she would obey everything Suyin said to her without any reason. Suyin was simply a miracle to her. After hanging up, Suyin relaxed a lot. President Kamayama is indeed capable. I really have to thank you for this. I won't have dinner tonight. If there's a chance, I'll treat you. Kamayama Junsaburo suppressed his anger and smiled. You're welcome. I still have things to do, so I'll leave first, Suyin said. I'll leave the rest to you too. You must send President Kamayama home personally, and take care of the injured members of the Ihakai. Don't make things difficult for President Kamayama. Don't worry, Mr. Yin. We'll take care of the rest. Luo Tu patted his chest and said. Wu Hao also nodded confidently. We won't let you down. Thank you for your help today. Suyin smiled. He was really grateful to these two people. Keep in touch in the future. If there's anything you need my help with, don't hesitate to ask. The two of them were flattered and nodded vigorously. Before he left, Suyin suddenly thought of something. He pointed at the Buddha's head and said to Kamayama Junsaburo, President Kamayama, I think you should trust Buddha in the future. Maybe he will bless you in the future. Today, you didn't believe him, so you ended up like this. I'll give you the Buddha's head. Remember to burn incense and worship it on the 1st and 15th day of every month. Kamayama Junsaburo's expression changed. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. I will definitely worship the Buddha head. I will remember this lesson for the rest of my life. President Tortoise Mountain, are you still holding a grudge? That's not good. Wu Hao said. You better not have any other ideas. Otherwise, us two brothers will never forgive you. You two really think highly of me. I don't dare to hold a grudge against Suyin-san. Kamayama Junsaburo said. Suyin-san gave me such a vivid lesson. I can't thank him enough. Luo Tu said with satisfaction. That's right. President Kamayama, we are still friends. Mr. Yin has already told us that he is truly grateful for everything you did for Ms. Okubo. Therefore, we will not make things difficult for President Kamayama in the future. However, the condition is that President Kamayama does not mess with the Okubo family anymore. Kamayama Junsaburo said. Of course not. Suyin waved goodbye to everyone, and left with Lin Gu. They hurried to the Okubo family's house. After Suyin left, Kamayama Junsaburo finally calmed down. Everything was over. He knew that he had lost completely and he was convinced of his loss. President Kamayama, let's go. We will send you home. I believe that Mr. Nakatu will take care of the injured brothers here. Luo Tu smiled and looked at Nakata Kanzuya, who was still depressed. Mr. Nakata, is everything all right? Nakata Kanzuya nodded awkwardly. No problem. President, you should go back and rest. I will take care of things here. If it wasn't for his incompetence, things wouldn't have turned out this way. Nakata Kanzuya still blamed himself. He felt that he had let Kamayama Junsaburo down. Kamayama Junsaburo had always trusted Nakata Kanzuya. However, Nakata Kanzuya couldn't do anything about what had happened today. He could only be a bystander and watch everything that had happened beyond his control. He felt that he was a failure. He had always thought that he was invincible and that he could do anything. But today he realized that he was still far from it, far, far from it. He thought that he was invincible because his opponents were too weak. However, after meeting a strong opponent, he realized that he was nothing. Nakata, it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Kamayama Junsaburo could see the sadness in his subordinate's heart. We should learn from our mistakes. In the future, we should know what kind of people we can't mess with. President Kamayama, you're so reasonable. Wu Hao smiled. Kamayama Junsaburo said helplessly, actually, I should have thought it through. I shouldn't have messed with someone who even you two didn't dare to fight and ran away. I overestimated my power. I'm not as strong as I thought. Wu Hao glanced at Kamayama Junsaburo. That's right. You shouldn't have messed with him. President Kamayama, it's not that Yua society isn't strong enough. It's that you shouldn't have messed with Mr. Yin. If I had thought it through, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Kamayama Junsaburo smiled bitterly. He had wasted so much energy and now he had lost everything. Don't regret helping Ms. Okubo. Luo too could see that Kamayama Junsaburo was disappointed. Even if you didn't do it, Mr. Yin would have solved it sooner or later. If that happened, you wouldn't have done him any favors. Do you think he would have let you go so easily? Kamayama Junsaburo was dazed. He looked at the Buddha's head. It seemed that everything in the world was just like what Buddha said. Karma was the cycle of cause and effect. The reason why he was still alive today was because of the fruit he had planted. Kamayama Junsaburo thought it through and took a deep breath. He didn't lose anything. Everything he did was an apology to the Okubo family. After all, he had harassed the Okubo family's construction site many times. If the Abe family wanted him to mess with the Okubo family in the future, he wouldn't dare to help them anymore. It didn't matter even if the Abe family didn't protect him anymore. After this, he felt that Yua society should stop and think about their future. If they continued to be so arrogant, they would be finished sooner or later. Thank you for waking me up today and letting me know what kind of person I, Kamayama Junsaburo, am. Kamayama Junsaburo said from the bottom of his heart. Yua society is only a small force. It's far from enough. Ha ha ha. Thank you for helping me stop Yamaguchi from messing with my family. Thank you. Don't be so sentimental. I'll send you home. We still need to go back and report to Yamaguchi. Luo too clapped his hands and interrupted Kamayama Junsaburo. Let's go. Chapter 2081. When Su-yen and Lin-gu rushed back to Okubo's house, Okubo Chiami had been waiting at the door. When she saw her superhero appear in front of her, she couldn't hide her joy as a little woman. When Su-yen stopped the car, Okubo Chiami rushed up and hugged Su-yen fiercely without caring about other people's gazes. That kind of gratitude could not be described with words. She really thought that she would fall into an abyss of no return. She really did not expect Su-yen to be able to win such a victory in Japan, which was an unfamiliar place, and in such a short period of time. What kind of method did you use? Kamayama Junsaburo actually helped you? Okubo Chiami was so excited that she was a little incoherent. Has my brother been escorted in? Their people told me that the evidence was conclusive. How did you do it? Su-yen smiled. This was really a long story. Sometimes, when something was in a completely unfavorable situation, only psychological warfare could be used. Now Su-yen was very glad that he studied psychology well. If he didn't study psychology well, this matter really couldn't be solved. This is quite simple. Lin-gu smiled. I used the Buddha's head to exchange for you. When she heard Lin-ji's words, Okubo Chiami's previous joy disappeared. She couldn't accept that the Buddha's head was exchanged for her. Right, why was Lin-gu here? Did he bring the Buddha's head back? You. How could you be so stupid to do this? Did you really not think about the value of the Buddha's head? Okubo Chiami was shocked and even a little angry, but she also knew that if this was true, it was all because of her. She had no reason to vent her anger on Su Yun and the others. We did, but that son of a B*TCH personally told my brother that he had to help us get you out and send the real culprit in. He wanted the Buddha's head, Linga said. We had no other choice. Okubo Chimi felt a sudden heartache. It wasn't easy to send the Buddha's head back safely. All right, don't listen to him. Su Yun said. It's true that I exchanged it with a Buddha head, but I exchanged it with a modern carved stone Buddha head. Okubo Chiami was dumbfounded. Was this even possible? When she finished listening to Su Yun's explanation of what had happened, she came to a sudden realization and let out a deep sigh of relief. This damn Lin Gu, he had almost scared her to death just now. Now that the matter has been resolved, Su Yun said, you don't have to worry about anything anymore. I believe that your brothers will soon come and apologize to you. Okubo Chimi was so grateful that she didn't know what to do. She grabbed Su Yun's arm and said, I don't know how to thank you. Miss Qianmei, I don't mind how you thank my brother. But shouldn't you also thank me? Lin Gu said. I'm also someone who didn't hesitate to come back and cooperate with this matter. I haven't eaten for 7 or 8 hours. I'm very hungry now. I just want to eat and drink. Okubo Chimi smiled embarrassedly. She was too excited. In fact, she had asked someone to prepare dinner when she got home. She hadn't eaten well in the past 2 days and was quite hungry. It was just that before Su Yun and the others returned safely, she really didn't have the appetite. Now that everything was over, she could have a comfortable meal and enjoy the joy of victory. Let's go and eat now. Okubo Chimi said. I know that you've been in Japan for so many days and might feel uncomfortable eating Japanese food all the time, so I specially prepared Chinese food today. That's really great. Su Yun, it would be best to have some braised pork ribs and dongpa pork. Of course, it would be perfect if there was some huaxia white wine. The rice wine in Japan was really not good. Su Yun didn't like it at all. This Chinese dinner was very rich. The dishes were all essential dishes in Chinese restaurants all over the world. It was also a necessary skill for chefs who learn Chinese food abroad. Sweet and sour pork tenderloin, kung pao chicken, yuxiang shredded pork, mapo tofu, shrimps, cashews, spring rolls, dumplings. Although these were the most simple things that could be eaten in the streets of Huaxia, eating them here really had a different flavor. Miss Chimi, I'm really a little tired today. I won't chat with you anymore. After Lin Gu ate and drank to his heart's content, he got up and said. He rushed to get off the ship at Beijing Tianjin port, and directly got into the car arranged by Wang Guangxiao. He was sent directly to the airport. After flying to Japan, he immediately got into Su Yun's car. This was definitely more hurried than a tourist group. Lin Gu would rather run dozens of kilometers than sit for so long. Moreover, he didn't have a good rest, which made him very tired. Go and sleep first. Su Yun understood his tiredness. But don't snore at night. Otherwise I'll kick you. Then don't share a room with me. Lin Gu said. It's best if you share a room with Miss Chimi. I won't disturb you and you won't disturb me. Scram. Su Yun directly scolded this little brat away. At this time, Su Yun and Chiaki were also full. Chiaki Okubo could see that Lin Gu wasn't the only one who was tired these days. Su Yun was also a bit haggard. After all, he had to find Wu Hao and Luo Tu in such a short time and arrange so many things. He must be mentally and physically exhausted. You must be very tired. Go to my hot spring and relax, Okubo Chimi said. Su Yun smiled. Although it was definitely a relaxing enjoyment, he was afraid that people would gossip about Chimi. That's not very good. There's nothing to worry about. I don't care what others say at all. A man of integrity is not afraid of crooked shadows. Okubo Chimi said, also I really want to talk to you, because I know that you helped me solve all the problems, and it's really time to leave. Seeing Okubo Chimi's somewhat sad eyes, Su Yun really couldn't bear to reject her last request. It was good to talk to her. This girl who was only in her 20s had already exceeded her ability to bear. He believed that after this, she would be stronger. And under this strength, she still needed someone to help her and inject courage into her heart. Yes, that's right. A man of integrity is not afraid of crooked shadows. Suyin. Let's go, then I won't be polite. I've been really tired these 2 days. Then Okubo Chimi asked someone to find loose shorts for Suyin. Suyin once again borrowed Okubo Chimi's hot spring pool. But seriously, these shorts didn't have much meaning. Once soaked in water, the transparency could reach more than 80%. This time, Suyin didn't seem to fully understand Okubo Chimi's meaning. A few minutes after he entered the hot spring pool, Okubo Chimi also walked in wrapped in a bath towel. Oh my god. Is this the rhythm of sharing a bath? Suyin was stunned for a long time, and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It seemed to be the rhythm. He didn't understand it like this before. Now that he thought about it, in fact, Chimi made it very clear that she wanted to chat with him. Forget it, I shouldn't look at what I shouldn't look at, and I shouldn't think about what I shouldn't think about. Suyin was also a gentleman. He would never take advantage of people's difficulties, unless they took the initiative to attack. It's over. When I was first caught, I really couldn't believe that I would have the chance to enjoy life here. After Okubo Chimi got into the water, she took off her bath towel without hesitation. Although the light inside was dim, Suyin could still vaguely see some things he shouldn't see. Chapter 2082. I really don't want you to go. Okubo Chimi smiled. She felt Suyun's embarrassment, but today she really wanted to leave a last memory with this man. Okubo Chimi knew very well that if Suyin left, it might mean that it would be the last time they would see each other. Yes, Suyin promised her that if she went to Huaxia, she could find him at any time. He would definitely meet her, and accompany her to the places she wanted to go in Huaxia. But the current situation seemed to make it impossible for Okubo Chimi to have the time to relax in Huaxia in a short time. Everything in the family couldn't leave her. Those promises were imaginary, but reality didn't allow it. Although she got her innocence back this time, after all, something happened to the family. Okubo Aichi's behavior had a bad impact on the Okubo family. It would take at least 3 to 5 years for Chimi to completely solve this bad impact. Facing a partner who could cancel their cooperation at any time, Okubo Chimi would have to invest more energy to maintain it than she had in the past 2 years. Moreover, after this incident, she believed that the Okubo family would soon give Chimi a proper status and reputation. The others would definitely compromise, and after that, Okubo Chimi would really be in a position of power. At that time, how could she have time to see Suyin? Therefore, this separation could last for 3 to 5 years if it was short, or a lifetime if it was long. After all, Suyin had his own career and his own things to deal with. Even if he would fulfill his promise to Chimi, Chimi didn't want to disturb him when he didn't have time. There were too many coincidences in the world, and this separation was really hard for Okubo Chimi. The world is so small. There will always be a chance to meet again. Suyin smiled. Maybe I'll come to Dongying again in a few days. Liar. Okubo Chimi said playfully. Suyin smiled slightly. Yes, this is a bit fake. But even if I really come, I'm afraid you won't have time. Such a big clan will be on your shoulders in the future. Don't you feel that it's especially hard? Okubo Chiaki shook her head. If it was before, I would have found it particularly difficult. But I don't know why, but after I met you, I suddenly felt that it wasn't so hard anymore. Suyin smiled faintly. He didn't know what to say. Why do you think this is? Okubo asked. Suyin thought for a moment and said, maybe it's because your heart has grown stronger, right? People will always grow. You have experienced so much in such a short period of time. Naturally, you will grow a lot. Your mind has matured, so you won't feel tired anymore. Okubo Chimi didn't speak. She looked up at the stars in the sky. Is that so? Had she really become more mature? She didn't think so. She felt that she was still the Qian Mei she was familiar with. However, she was less cowardly and more unyielding. She dared to do the things that she didn't dare to do in the past because of family ties. She dared to say the things that she didn't dare to say in the past because of family ties. In the past, she always had a lot of concerns when she wanted to do things. She would think about many things. But now she didn't have so many concerns. When the guard was confirmed dead, She thought about a lot of things. A person's life was short, really short. Even if there were no accidents or diseases in one's life, and they were healthy. It was only 100 years. And in this 100 years, the most precious youth was only a moment. If she couldn't do what she wanted at this time, and still had to worry about so many things, then what was the meaning of her life? Who did she live for? Soo-yeon's appearance made Okubo Chimi understand a problem. She didn't live for her family, nor for her parents, nor for these unreliable brothers and sisters. She, Okubo Chimi, wanted to live for herself, to do what she thought was right, to like the person she liked, to leave the madness in her youth, to dare to love and hate, to do what she thought was right. Even if no one thought it was right, as long as she thought it was right, she would do it. Many people said, "If we don't go crazy, we'll be old. Do what you want to do?" How many people had this courage? How many people lived for the normal life in everyone's eyes? Not for the pursuit for happiness, for what they wanted to do. Those who studied hard every day from childhood to grow up to be civil servants. Was this the life they wanted? This was just what everyone thought was normal. Those who wanted to buy a car but were worried about the price, worried about the feelings of their family, worried about how others looked at them. Was this the attitude they wanted? These were all small examples. Too many people made the right judgment about a matter for the right thing in other people's eyes, and often couldn't make the right judgment. Soo-yeon, tell me, should I let go of everything and be the person I want to be? Okubo Chimi said. Soo-yeon nodded. Of course, only when you let go of everything and be the person you want to be, your life will be meaningful. You are more charming and charming. You are you and no one can replace you. Are you sure you're not saying this to make me happy? Okubo Chimi said. Soo-yeon, I want you to remember me. Remember me with your heart. I will. Soo-yeon said. You helped me so much, how can I forget you? Without Okubo Chimi, there would be no Buddha's head to return to China. Soo-yeon certainly wouldn't forget this. I'm not saying that you will remember me just because of this. Okubo Chimi said. I want you to remember me because of me. After saying this, Okubo Chimi directly put her body close to Soo-yeon. Even in the hot spring, Soo-yeon still felt a chill. After all, he was a man. When some things were placed in front of him, he couldn't refuse. For a woman that Soo-yeon himself appreciated, he naturally couldn't refuse. If this matter was wrong, then Soo-yeon shouldn't have been so close to Okubo Chimi in the first place. When they were so close in the beginning, today's things were destined to happen. When Okubo Chimi helped Soo-yeon smoothly send away the Buddha's head. When Soo-yeon helped Chimi smoothly solve the problem, everything that happened now was natural. Sometimes, the feelings between a man and a woman were always inadvertent, and a flash of fire could easily ignite this dry firewood. The splashing sound of the water in the hot spring was like a catalyst for the feelings between men and women. Everything that should happen happened. Soo-yeon didn't know if he would regret it later, but he didn't think so much at this moment. Just like Okubo Chimi wanted to be the most authentic version of herself, they were just being the most authentic version of themselves at this moment, moving according to their hearts, that's all. Perhaps this wasn't a real feeling, but it wasn't that kind of abnormal feeling either. There was always such a moment in the world, a feeling that was above friendship and below love. No one could explain this kind of thing clearly. Sometimes some people restrained themselves, and sometimes some people didn't. It was that simple. Chimi knew that this was the last time she and Soo-yeon would have. She wanted to be crazy as she could be, without any worries. Chapter 2083. What had to be faced eventually. After waking up the next day, Lin-gu conveyed the chief's words to Soo-yeon. The chief's meaning was very clear. He hoped that Soo-yeon wouldn't stay in Dongying for too long. The relationship between Dongying's political families, mafia families and samurai families was very messy. It was definitely not something that Soo-yeon could change in a short period of time by himself. Therefore, the Okubo family would always be in trouble. And Soo-yeon couldn't stay here forever to help Okubo Chimi deal with it. Most of the things still needed to be dealt with by Okubo Chimi herself. Soo-yeon was naturally aware of this situation. Fortunately, he had already told Wu Hao and Luo Tu that the Okubo family's matters would be their business in the future. They still cared about Su-yun's words. Everything that happened next was as Su-yun expected. After the other members of the Okubo family learned that Okubo Aichi was convicted, and that Chimi was innocent, they all appeared at home again. Too many things had happened in the past few days, and it was obviously beyond what they could bear. It was hard for them to imagine how things had turned out like this. In a short period of time, the Okubo guards were killed, and Okubo Aichi, who harmed them, also suffered the consequences of his own actions. All the evidence now pointed to him being an intentional murderer. This would at least sentence him to life in prison, and he wouldn't be able to come out in the future. Even if Chimi was willing to find him the best lawyer and think of a way to let him be lenient, it would be at least 20 years before he could come out. 20 years. How big was the change in 20 years? No one could believe what would happen 20 years later. Even if he could come out, he would be completely out of touch with society. Imagine those people who went in 20 years ago. What would they know if they came out now? They didn't even know that this society used to have pagers, and it was even more impossible for them to know that the most popular thing in this society 10 years ago was Nokia, and not the current iPhone N. Therefore, Okubo Aichi was already crippled. Whether he had the chance to come out in the future or not, he was already a cripple. Such a person obviously wouldn't be able to make any waves in the Okubo clan, so everyone was very clear that the person they needed the most right now was Kiyomi, and the person they had to obey was Kiyomi. After Okubo Chiami came out, she didn't argue with Okubo Kawada and Okubo Mizuki. She was already very magnanimous. According to the current situation, Okubo Kawada and Okubo Mizuki were very clear about their situation. As long as Chienmei said a few words, they would be taken away by the police again for investigation. If they were found to be conspirators, they would face 3 to 5 years in prison. Going to jail was not a fun thing. Many people in the underworld always thought that going to jail was a capital, something worth showing off. But when they really went to jail, they would know what it was like. There weren't many good people in prison. Unless your fists were strong enough, your connections were strong enough, and your money was strong enough. Otherwise, your life in prison was even more miserable. How many people had their chrysanthemums been destroyed? How many people had their faces washed with tears? Even in this society full of sunshine, there were so many dark things happening every day, not to mention in the dark prison. Therefore, the purpose of Okubo Kawada and Okubo Mizuki coming here today was very simple. They wanted to apologize. They hoped to get Chienmei's forgiveness and give them a chance to be a new person. She didn't want them to go to jail. Okubo Mauna had the same idea when she returned home. She knew that she was involved in the conspiracy. Although she wasn't present when Okubo bodyguard Dong was murdered, she was involved in the whole thing. Okubo Mauna completely knew what kind of person Su-yun was. With her shrewdness, it was impossible for her to play with Su-yun. If it wasn't for Su-yun being merciful and giving her face, he only needed to say a word in front of Kamayama, and her end might be worse than anyone else. Moreover, she also heard what happened yesterday. Kamayama, the president of the Ihakai, was completely convinced by him. Who the hell is this guy? Are you from the stars? Does he have a superpower? He actually planned and controlled the whole situation. Chienmei was able to get out of prison smoothly, and Okubo Aichi was completely finished. Everything was controlled by director Su-yun. At first, she actually thought that she controlled Su-yun. Now that she thought about it, it was really ridiculous. After the three of them came back, they clearly expressed their inner thoughts and sincerely apologized to Chienmei, hoping to get her forgiveness. Okubo Mauna remembered what Su-yun said. A family must have a family to have a clan. If she was the only member of the Okubo family, they wouldn't be treated as a family in the eyes of outsiders. In the end, Chienmei chose to forgive them. She forgave their ignorance and sins and chose to be tolerant. The other three also clearly knew that they could no longer be as unscrupulous as they were in the past. They were very clear that today's compromise was acknowledging Chienmei's position in the Okubo family. In the future, they must obey all of Chienmei's arrangements. This was fate. Seeing that everything was fine with Okubo Mauna, Su-yun was relieved. Lin Go urged Su-yun to leave. He had proof from the bureau chief, and the bureau chief had already contacted the person in charge of Huaxia's embassy in Tokyo. Now they needed to go to the embassy to ask for help. The people in the embassy had also agreed to the bureau chief's request. After they came, they would arrange a plane for them to return home as soon as possible. They would also get their IDs and eliminate all unfavorable factors. I should go. The pigeon has already contacted the leaders in the embassy. If I don't go now, I'll keep them waiting. Although he didn't want to say goodbye, he still had to say goodbye. Su Yun smiled and said, "Remember our agreement. Run your family well and cultivate your brothers and sisters. Then you'll have time to travel to Huaxia." Okubo Mauna thought a lot about the situation after hearing Su Yun's words. Would she be excited, devastated, or in pain? She imagined it all. However, when this moment really happened, she found that she was calm. Yes, she was very calm, so calm that she was in a mess. She felt that these days were like a dream. And when she woke up from the dream, no matter how unwilling she was, she could finally calmly accept the fact that it was a dream. "I'll take you to the embassy." Qianmei smiled slightly, and her calm performance made Su Yun very satisfied. Su Yun knew that she had matured. After all this, no one would not change. This kind of rapid growth experience always made people mature quickly, which was a good thing for Qianmei. "Okay, you can take us." Su Yun didn't refuse. This was the last thing that Qianmei thought she could do for him. Of course, he wouldn't refuse a girl's last kindness. When the car left the embassy, Su Yun really felt a little reluctant in his heart. "Brother, the chief knows you well. He's afraid that if you stay here for too long, your heart will sink deeper, and you will be more reluctant to leave." Linga said. "If you really don't want to leave, then let's stay for another day. Don't talk so much nonsense." Su Yun said. "Go back to the country as soon as you're done. This is the chief's order. I'll stay and do all this. That's the favor I should return to Qianmei. I'll help her do this for Huaxia's material and cultural heritage. She helped us without hesitation, so I have to help her too. Do you understand?" Linga nodded. Although Su Yun's words were a little profound, it did sound like the case. On the way out, Qianmei still couldn't control her tears. Although she told herself again and again not to be sad, it wasn't a life and death separation. But in the end, she still couldn't hold it in. This feeling was really touched by a life and death separation. Goodbye, hero in my heart. Chapter 2084. The end of the Buddha's head mission also allowed Su Yun to have a good rest for 2 days after returning to Yanjing. Su Yun did not care about the rewards. What he cared about was that this matter allowed Wen Xiao to become a real warrior of the Dragon's Fury Special Forces again. As for Lin Ge, because of his outstanding performance, Wan Guangxiao also gave him a special status. Lin Ge was ecstatic. He never thought that he could become someone like Su Yun. Yu Marin felt bad for Su Yun. She even thought of persuading Su Yun to return to the army. At least that way, he would be able to get more help from his brothers. However, she understood Su Yun's situation. There were some things that could not be reversed. Su Yun now preferred his life outside. He could not throw away his life outside. The responsibilities that he had already shouldered had to be borne to the end. When Ruan Qingshuang found out that Su Yun had returned to Yanjing, she directly went to Yanjing and personally brought Su Yun back to Qingdao. First, she was really worried about whether Su Yun was injured during the mission. Second, there was a very important contract waiting for him to sign. He also had to meet with a Hollywood post-production team. This matter was very important to Sky Entertainment. Ruan Qingshuang and Zhuo Meiyan had been working hard for several months to finalize this matter. They were waiting for Su Yun to come back and make the final decision. When Su Yun signed the contract, he felt a little embarrassed. He always felt like he was sitting back and enjoying the fruits of someone else's labor. He felt very sorry for Ruan Qingshuang and Zhuo Meiyan's hard work. He really felt sorry for them. Su Yun signed a big contract the day after he returned to Qingdao. Although he felt sorry for Ruan Qingshuang and Zhuo Meiyan, he still felt a sense of accomplishment. Laughter filled Su Yun's first dinner with his family after returning to Huaxia. However, after Ruan Qingshuang received a phone call, the smile on her face could no longer be seen. She was informed by a villager that her father and many other villagers had been injured. After receiving the news, Wan Qingshuang couldn't sit still. She had to rush home to see what had happened. After all, she had sent her brother out to study and gain experience. She had to take care of the family matters. Su Yin obviously couldn't let Wan Qingshuang go alone. He decided to go with her. Fortunately, Sky Entertainment's big issue this time had been resolved, and Wan Qingshuang had time to spare. Zhuo Meiyan told the two of them to go without worry. As for the company's matters, she would take care of it. Even if she couldn't handle it herself, Bai Xiaoye and Lin Ge would help. The matter couldn't be delayed. The two of them rushed back to Wan Qingshuang's hometown the next day. When they got home, before they even got out of the car, they found that the whole village was covered in dust. It was simply impossible for people to live normally. The cement roads in the village were also crushed beyond recognition by the trucks. It was really unbearable. The two of them stopped the car and quickly returned home. Mother Wan was feeding Father Wan medicine. When she saw her daughter and son-in-law arrive, tears instantly streamed down her face. "Mom, I'm late." Wan Qingshuang felt sorry for her mother. When she saw her father lying on the bed injured, her heart ached even more. "What happened?" "Old woman, don't cry. I'm fine. If you cry, the children will be worried." Mother Wan frowned and said to her daughter, "Qingshuang, don't worry. I'm fine. Your mom just likes to make a fuss about nothing." Wan Qingshuang's heart was filled with guilt and apology. She didn't know what to say. In comparison, Su Yin was calmer. He saw that although Wan Qingshuang's father was injured and had a cast on his arm and ankle, he was still in good spirits. This made him feel relieved. The old man had been doing farm work his whole life, so his body was still quite strong. Although it wasn't easy to recover from injuries, as long as there weren't any fatal internal injuries, it would be fine. "Go get some water for little Su." Mother Wan was really angry. This old woman didn't have any eyesight at all. This son-in-law was an important guest. How could she neglect him? Besides, looking at everything they had now, wasn't it all because of Su Yin? If it weren't for her daughter's good fortune to meet such a good man like Su Yin, how could their family live in such a big house? Upstairs and downstairs. Look at the big sofa outside. It could seat more than 10 people. It was made of genuine leather. At first, he thought that such a big sofa would cost thousands of yuan. Later, he heard from the younger generation in the village who sold furniture outside that such a big sofa would cost at least 2 or 3 big figures. My goodness, 20 to 30,000 yuan was a number that Mother Wan didn't even dare to think about. Old Wan knew very well that it was all because they had such a good son-in-law. Although her daughter had said many times that they were still young and should focus on their careers, marriage wasn't considered for the time being. Mother Wan treated Su Yin as her son-in-law from the bottom of her heart. "Look at me. I'm confused." Mother Wan quickly got up. "Aya, uncle, auntie, why are you so polite to me?" Su Yin quickly got up. "I came here and treated this place as my own home. If I was thirsty, I would have gone to get some water. Hurry up and sit down. Tell me what's going on." Su Yin stopped Nanny Wan. Right now, he only wanted to know what was going on outside the village. Why did it seem like a mountain-clearing army had arrived, causing the entire village to be in a foul atmosphere? Just the dust alone was 100 times worse than the smog in Yanjing. There was simply no way for people to live here. Mother Wan sighed. "Aya, it's all because of the big boss of the company. The situation now. Aya, I can't explain it clearly in a few words. I'll call old Zheng's son to come over and tell you. He went to a technical secondary school outside and is cultured. He can explain it clearly." Su Yin nodded. He had to figure out the root cause of the matter first before he could deal with it. Mother Wan flipped through her phone for a long time before she found it. He quickly called old Zhang and told him that his daughter was back. There was pride in his voice. He also said that little Su was also here. Someone was in charge of this matter. He asked his son to come over and tell him about it. Speaking of little Su, or Su Yun, he was definitely a mythical figure in their village. Who didn't know how many good things Su Yin had done for their village? He had forked out money to widen the main road, found a way to get street lamps, and even forked out money to rebuild the dilapidated primary school in the village. Su Yin was a well-known figure in their village. Even the village branch secretary, old Lu, didn't dare to say the word coward in front of Su Yun. Whoever dared to say something bad about Su Yun would cause public outrage. When old Zhang heard that Su Yun was here, he was so excited that he almost threw away his crutches. His leg was also injured, and now he was sulking all day long. When he heard this news, he knew that someone was in charge of their village. Su Yun was capable and capable. Perhaps he could directly teach the big boss a lesson. After hanging up the phone, he quickly called his son to follow him to Mother Ruan's house. Their savior was here. Little Zhang had also heard of Su Yun and knew that Su Yun was their village's savior. His spirit was lifted, and he quickly helped his father walk outside. Although the father and son's footsteps were a little unsteady, they still walked very quickly. Now old Zhang couldn't wait to take a loudspeaker and shout at the big cars that were pulling the stones. Our village's savior is here. Just you wait and see. Don't be fooled by how happy you are now. Be careful that you won't be clean in the future. Chapter 2085. After old Zhang and little Zhang arrived at old Ruan's house, Mrs. Ruan quickly invited them into the house. Old Ruan also sat down in the living room with the help of Ruan Qingshuang. As soon as the two entered the house, old Zhang pulled his son and knelt down when he saw Su Yun. Even Su Yun was shocked by this. One could imagine how much this matter affected them. They were really suffering, which was why they did such a thing. Because Su Yun was the last hope that old Zhang could see now. After seeing Su Yun, all of his troubles were vented. Qingshuang, you and Mr. Su are the last hope of our village now. You must seek justice for us. Old Zhang fell to his knees and began to cry. Su Yun and Ruan Qingshuang hurried forward to support him. They hadn't figured out the situation yet, so they couldn't rush to a conclusion. But the two of them couldn't accept such a big bow. Ruan Qingshuang and Su Yun supported old Zhang and said, "If there's anything, tell us first. We will definitely help the villagers. Uncle Zhang, please don't do this. We really can't accept it." Old Zhang and little Zhang were helped to sit on the sofa. Old Ruan sighed. "Little Zhang, you are cultured. Tell us. I don't know what to say about this matter, and I don't know what project those big bosses want to do." Little Zhang nodded and looked at Su Yun. "Brother Su, we really need you to uphold justice for the villagers. It's the people from Yuda Cement Factory who did evil, and that's why our village is like this." The general process of the matter was like this. Because Yuda Cement illegally opened a stone factory in their county and made stones in the back mountain of the village every day, the village was seriously polluted. The village secretary, Lu, led the villagers to ask the person in charge of Yuda Cement for an explanation. Then they were beaten. Yuda Cement Factory had been in operation for many years. Since the cement production couldn't go up, they began to think of crooked ways. They directly opened a stone factory on the mountain. Because the stone factory was not approved, there were no approval procedures for pollution and other conditions during the operation period. As a result, the operation of the stone factory brought in stone powder that covered the sky. Their village was seriously polluted, and every day, the dust covered the entire village's crops and homes. All the crops were covered and polluted by stone powder. The villagers' food and clothes were all covered in stone powder. Su Yun could see all of this. The leaves of the crops had already turned white. Photosynthesis required leaves to be green for it to happen. The stone powder had caused the crops to die of starvation. Of course, people could also starve to death if the wheat failed to harvest. With the pollution reaching this level, Secretary Lu led the village committee and the contaminated villagers to ask Yuda Cement Factory to deal with it. But Yuda Cement didn't care about it. Every day, the rumbling machines of the stone factory operated as usual, and the dust covered the entire village as usual. The villagers had no choice but to find Yuda Cement and ask them for an explanation. However, Yuda Cement did not explain. They directly hired gangsters and many strong employees. There were hundreds of them, armed with police shields and batons, wearing safety helmets, and dressed as armed police. They rushed up and beat up more than 50 villagers. After a while, more than 50 villagers were knocked to the ground. More than 20 were rescued and hospitalized because of their serious injuries. Although old Lu was the secretary of the village and flaunted his power, in the face of these people he didn't have the slightest way. Of course, Secretary Lu also did something wrong. He asked for a large sum of compensation, so he angered the other party. This kind of thing was indeed a matter of two hands clapping. If Secretary Lu hadn't brought people to block the other party's stone truck and asked for money, perhaps there wouldn't have been such a big conflict. Of course, the main responsibility of this matter was still on the Yu de cement factory. After all, they were operating a stone factory illegally. Among the people who were beaten were old Ruan and old Zhang. Old Zhang's son was young, so his injuries were relatively light. Of course, there were also a few young people who thought they could fight, so they fought with them. As a result, they were beaten even more seriously. There were still people in the hospital who hadn't woken up yet. What made them even angrier was that they called the police, but the police didn't do anything when they arrived. They just watched the other party beat people up. They all hoped that the relevant departments would impose formal legal punishment on the Yu de cement factory. But the result was even more unsatisfactory. No one cared about them at all. No one made a decision for them. The local county leaders seemed to be good friends with the director of the Yu de cement factory. Therefore, their evil deeds wouldn't be punished at all. Of course, the villagers couldn't accept this. They were beaten up, and no one even paid for the medical expenses. What else could a group of farmers like them do to help the evildoer do evil? They could only endure it. They could only endure the stone mining day and night, and endure the stone trucks rampaging through the village every day. Before, they would stop working at night. Now even at night, there were still big trucks rumbling through the village. These drivers also used the power of the tiger to intimidate others. They didn't step on the brakes at all. Some people even directly knocked down the street lights in the village. They didn't take it seriously at all. Now the whole village was in a panic. It was fine if people were in a panic, but now there was no way to live here. The dust made it impossible for people to breathe normally. Not to mention opening the windows. Even if the windows were closed, there would be a layer of dust every day. There was no way to dry the laundry. If the freshly cooked food wasn't eaten in 10 minutes, it would be full of the smell of stone foam. How could people live like this? The villagers in the village were miserable. They really didn't know what to do. No one made a decision for them. Even the bully in their eyes, Party Secretary Lu, was beaten up until he couldn't tell north from south. He was still lying in the hospital. Without a leader, the other villagers were like a plate of loose sand. Now all of them swallowed their anger, hoping that the heavenly soldiers would come down and arrest these bad guys. Punish them severely. After Su Yun heard the whole story, he had a basic understanding of the matter. It seemed that the county was far away from the emperor. As long as the boss of a company had a good relationship with the leaders in the county, he could do whatever he wanted. No one could do anything to him. Brother Su Yun, that's what happened. After Xiao Zhang finished speaking, tears were about to come out. We really don't know what to do. Who should make a decision for us? Wan Qingshuang was very angry. It was a society ruled by law. How could such a thing happen? These people were too lawless, and the leaders of the relevant departments were too irresponsible. This kind of company should be closed down, and the leaders of the departments in charge of supervision should be dismissed. They should go home and think about what the country raised them for. It was for them to serve the people, not for them to be the accomplices of the evildoers. It wasn't for them to put on the airs of an official every day. And the current situation was really... Wan Qingshuang took a deep breath. She believed that even Party Secretary Lu was beaten. No one would be responsible for this matter. Su Yun. Wan Qingshuang didn't have any ideas now. She could only hope that Su Yun could help them solve it. Su Yun smiled slightly. It's okay. If no one makes a decision for you, I will make a decision for you. Since they are lawless and think that no one dares to interfere with their affairs, then we will use the same method to let them know what it feels like. Hearing Su Yun's words, old Zhang and Xiao Zhang seemed to have taken a mouthful of reassurance. Aya, we finally met the heavens. Wan Qingshuang knew that Su Yun would definitely have a way. Fortunately, he was here. If Su Yun didn't come with her, she really didn't know what the use of her coming back was. Chapter 2086. Old Zhang was obviously more agitated than little Zhang. Little Su. Oh no, Mr. Su, what should we do now? Do I need to do something? Look at me. I'm so nervous that I don't even know what to say. I just shouted. Uncle Zhang, it's quite affectionate of you to call me Little Su. You don't seem to regard me as an outsider at all. Su Yin smiled. He could see old Zhang's nervousness and excitement. They had been out of their wits for many days. Now that they finally had a chance, they naturally had to seize it. Anyone would be excited and nervous. Brother Su Yun, as long as you need us to do anything, just tell us. You're the only person who can make decisions for the villagers. Little Zhang said. No matter what you ask me to do, I'll definitely cooperate with you without any complaints. If you want to help, then persuade the villagers again tomorrow. When the truck carrying the stone enters the mountain, block the road for me. Su Yin. Oh right, block the street lamp that they broke. Leave the rest to me. Little Zhang frowned. After the previous incident, the villagers were indeed afraid of being beaten up. This time, they might not dare to stand up and help Su Yin. After all, Secretary Liu helped when they blocked the road last time. Now that the Liu family was lying in the hospital, no one dared to take the lead, right? No one wanted to become like the Liu family. The Liu family members were seriously injured and still had money to treat their illness. Some people were so poor that they only earned 3,000 to 5,000 yuan a year. Entering the hospital? What kind of joke was that? What kind of institution was the hospital now? Saving the dying and treating the injured? What a joke. The hospital was a black shop that ripped you off without any discussion. They would ask you to do a full body checkup for just a small matter. 3,000 to 5,000 yuan was probably not even enough for the checkup, let alone hospitalization. Moreover, no matter what kind of doctor or nurse it was, 80% of the staff always had a zombie face. They couldn't speak clearly and were weak. Ordinary people couldn't hear clearly. If they asked twice, they would be impatient. The words written were also incomprehensible. Who the F***ck could understand which country it was from. Of course, if you could meet a doctor or nurse who was neither an acquaintance nor a relative who would still be polite to you, then it was definitely because you had accumulated good karma in your previous life and received good karma in this life. Therefore, when Su Yin said that he wanted to gather the villagers to block the road again, little Zhang felt that it was a little difficult. Don't worry. Tell the villagers that you don't need them to do anything. I'll put the car on the road. They're just in charge of keeping an eye out for me so I don't get scratched. Su Yin smiled. If anyone wants to make money, bring 2 buckets of water and help me wipe the car. I'll pay for the service. Little Zhang nodded. He knew that Su Yin wasn't the kind of person who would flaunt just because he had some money. He just wanted to use this method to attract everyone. In fact, there was no need for anyone to come out. Su Yin could handle this matter himself. He didn't ask everyone to come out to block the road. In fact, he wanted everyone to see that he was backing them up. He didn't want them to live in a situation where everyone was in fear. Now Su Yin knew very well what the people needed. What they needed was a heart that could be comforted. Little Zhang, how about this? I'll go with you tomorrow to appeal to everyone. Ruan Qingshuang said. It wasn't early today. The batch of cars that carried the stones had already left. It was unknown when they would come again at night. Su Yin also needed to understand the situation more. After all, this was little Zhang's side of the story. How about this? Uncle Zhang, little Zhang, if there's nothing else, let's have lunch here this afternoon. Su Yin. I'll go to the mountain behind the village to see what's going on and understand. I'll go with you, Ruan Qingshuang said. You don't have to go with me. It's not easy for you to go home. Stay at home and chat with the elders. Su Yin. I'm just going up to take a look. I'll be back in a while. I don't have anything to do at home. Ruan Qingshuang was worried about Su Yin alone. Besides, you're not familiar with the roads here. I can give you directions. Old Ruan also said. Yes, let her go with you. She's familiar with the back of the mountain. There's nothing to do at home. Let her cook 2 dishes for you. You can have a drink with Uncle Zhang. Su Yin smiled. Old Zhang quickly waved his hand. In fact, before the stone factory's incident, He had often come to old Ruan's place to drink. Of course, old Ruan was generous, and his daughter was capable. She bought so much good wine for him, but he couldn't finish it all in the kitchen. The two of them had a good relationship since they were young, so old Ruan always liked to invite him over to drink with him. But today was not the time for him to drink. Old Ruan's son-in-law rarely came over. As an outsider, how could he disturb them? It's not easy for your family to sit together. I can't join in. That would make me look useless. Old Zhang quickly got up and told his son to leave. Let's go back. There's still some work to be done at home. Tomorrow, we'll call for everyone to unite and cooperate with Xiao Su's work. Sit for a while. Mother Ruan said politely. But old Zhang insisted on leaving with his son. In fact, Xiao Zhang wanted to stay for a meal and build a good relationship with the Ruan family. After this matter was settled, he could go back to the city to find a job. Maybe Su Yin and Ruan Qingshuang could help him. But at this time, he still had to listen to old Zhang. Old Zhang was thoughtful. If they stayed, the family would think that they didn't know anything. Old Zhang was an old man, so he understood the principle of how to deal with people. After sending off old Zhang and Xiao Zhang, Su Yin and Ruan Qingshuang got in the car and went directly to the back of the mountain. It was almost dinner time. Old Ruan urged his wife to hurry up and cook. He was worried that the children were hungry. The two drove through the dusty road. They didn't dare to open the window at all. The dust behind the car made Su Yin unable to see the road in the rearview mirror. The environment was really bad. After passing the slightly better cement road, there was a hard dirt road. It hadn't rained recently, so the road was very dry and hard. The dust was even more serious than the cement road. The road was also full of potholes from the cars transporting the stone. It could be said that this road was really difficult to walk on. Even the Qian suffered a lot in this place. It was quite strenuous to run. This kind of place should be more suitable for the Land Rover Discovery 4. It was quite tiring for a car with average off-road performance to run. If it really rained and encountered a muddy situation, ordinary small cars really couldn't enter this place. Su Yin followed Ruan Qingshuang's directions and quickly arrived at the back of the mountain in the village. At this time, the stone mining on the mountain had not stopped. The sound of the machines was very loud, and the people at the scene were all wearing dust masks. Su Yin saw a Volkswagen Tiguan parked outside the temporary office and drove his car over. The people in the office saw such a good car and quickly came out. They thought that some big leader had come. One must know that he bought this divine car Tiguan a few years ago. At that time, the price of this car was 20,000 yuan. But on this broken road, the axle almost broke. The leader was really bold. He directly drove the Qian up the mountain. Rich people were willful. He wasn't afraid of losing such a good car. The person who came out of the office should be the leader in charge of the stone mining. He saw that the Qian was parked here and didn't move. He didn't act rashly. He persisted in the dust for a minute. After a minute, he couldn't stand it anymore and coughed a few times. However, the people in the car still didn't want to get out. The person in charge was really a little scared. He didn't understand the situation. In fact, there was no situation. Su Yin looked at the general situation and understood. There were no measures to prevent dust pollution. This stone factory must be illegal. Of course, Su Yin wouldn't get out of the car to eat the dust. He parked here for a few minutes so that the guy outside would eat more dust. Now that the guy was full, Su Yin didn't say anything. He directly turned the car around and stepped on the accelerator. The car flew away. The person in charge of the stone factory was almost choked to death by the dust storm caused by the Qian tires. Chapter 2087. Looking at the Qian driving away, the person in charge of the stone factory spat out a mouthful of dust and quickly returned to his office. He had only been out for a few minutes, but his hair was already covered in dust. He didn't know how much harmful gas he had inhaled and how many hours he would lose. In fact, these people were very particular about their own health. They were especially clear about the impact of this kind of pollution, but they just didn't take the health of other people seriously. As long as they were fine, it was fine. Anyway, they didn't often live in this kind of place. Director Wan, what was the situation just now? Suddenly, a person ran into the office. Was the person in the car just now the leader of the factory? Leader my ass. Wan Chungkong spat again, but he still felt uncomfortable in his mouth. Who knows what he did? Not to mention getting out of the car, he didn't even roll down the window. He just left with a mouthful of dust. This Wan Chungkong was the person in charge of the stone factory. The person who ran in was Lu Bo, who was in charge of safety and environment. The two of them were responsible for the mining of the entire stone site. Other people who had the right to speak wouldn't come to the first site at all. It was so dirty here. Would the big leaders be willing to come? Then you didn't see through the glass to see if it was our boss? Lu Bo said. If it was our boss, then blame us for not being considerate. The boss came here to play with you when he had nothing to do? Wan Chungkong said disdainfully. Even if you came, you wouldn't be able to see. This car either has a privacy glass or a privacy glass film. You can't see inside at all. It's dark. Lu Bo frowned. It can't be that he came here to play, right? Our place isn't a fun place. Wan Chungkong said, that's hard to say. Now many rich people have weird ideas. Maybe they will go to remote places. It's possible. Then they must be really bored. Lu Bo said. Let them come and eat dust for 2 days. Then they will know what's fun in this place. Okay, don't talk nonsense. Let's hurry up and let the brothers work overtime. We still have to transport a batch tonight. The cars will come back tomorrow morning. Hurry up and work. Wan Chungkong said. While those unruly people are honest and don't cause us trouble, we should quickly earn enough money. Lu Bo chuckled. What kind of trouble can those commoners cause us? Boss can settle it with a single word. If they still want to cause trouble, why beat them up? I don't believe that they won't behave. Old Lu, I told you that you don't know how to keep up with the times. This is an internet society, and news travels very quickly. Wan Chungkong said. It's a good thing that the people here don't know what the internet is. One of them even posted a post about it. Our boss gave the Internet Surveillance Bureau's head a favor, and they deleted it. Lu Bo nodded. That's true. If it wasn't deleted, the negative impact would be quite big. Fortunately, our boss has some tricks up his sleeve. What means? Money is the means. Wan Chungkong said. They would do anything to make money because they knew that money was the solution to all problems. That was why they would do anything to make money. After Su Yun and Wan Qingshuang returned home, Old Wan took out some good wine. Mother Wan also made 8 dishes. The lobsters that she usually couldn't bear to eat were all taken out of the fridge. They couldn't bear to buy these things. They were all brought by the 2 children when they came back to visit them. Some were sent directly by Wan Qingshuang. They were all wrapped in ice packs and sent in an insulated box. This is too sumptuous. I won't stand on ceremony then. Su Yun smiled and sat down. The more relaxed he appeared, the more relaxed others would feel. Su Yun knew this very well, so he didn't stand on ceremony and started eating. Seeing Su Yun like this, Old Wan smiled at his wife. The more they looked at Su Yun, the more comfortable they felt, and the more reliable he was. Mother Wan asked her husband more than once what kind of good fortune they had in their previous life, to be able to receive such good karma in their old age. It really made them feel that they had no regrets even if they died. Wan Qingshuang kept giving food to her parents. After Su Yun accompanied Old Ruan to drink 2 glasses of wine, Old Ruan's tongue became big and his mind became muddled. He was the kind of person who could fall asleep after drinking too much. After dinner, Old Ruan wanted to chat with the 2 of them, but the alcohol was too strong. He couldn't hold on for a few minutes. In addition, his body was injured, so he went to bed early to rest. He fell asleep as soon as he went to bed. After Wan Qingshuang helped her mother tidy up everything, it was already late. Mother Wan pointed to the room prepared for them. It's late. You should rest early. Your father can't leave someone to take care of him. I'll go back to the room first. You can go take care of Dad. Wan Qingshuang nodded. We'll rest in a while. The old people in the countryside all went to bed early. This was a habit they had for many years. After all, the people in the countryside didn't have as much energy as the people in the city. They had to do a lot of work during the day and didn't have a rich nightlife at night. So it was their habit to go to bed early. Ruan Qingshuang looked at the bedroom her mother prepared for them. She was really drunk in her heart. The big red quilt with dragons and phoenixes on it. She didn't know when her mother had prepared this. It was just like a new wedding bed. Su Yun couldn't help but laugh after seeing it. He whispered to Ruan Qingshuang, "There are 4 joys in life. After a long drought, there's rain, there's an old friend in a foreign land, there's the golden exam, and the wedding night. Really, it's just like the wedding night." Ruan Qingshuang's pretty face turned red. "This is my own room. Who said you could sleep here? Go sleep in the living room. You still want the wedding night? Dream on. Don't. You're so heartless to abandon me. It's so cold in the living room," Su Yun said. "You still think it's cold in July?" Ruan Qingshuang said. "I feel hot when I see the quilt my mother prepared for me." "You don't have to wear clothes if you're hot," Su Yun said. "That way it's cooler." Ruan Qingshuang glared at Su Yun. "Su Yun, don't go overboard. We're at home. You don't want to be treated as a rogue, right? Even if you say that I'm a rogue, no one in the family or the village will believe you. Do you believe it?" Su Yun said. This was really true. Ruan Qingshuang shook her head helplessly. Su Yun was now a superhero in their village. He was definitely not an ordinary big shot. Whoever dared to say something bad about him was definitely not willing. Even Ruan Qingshuang didn't dare to say anything. "Wait until you solve the problems in the village tomorrow, before you show off," Ruan Qingshuang said. "If you don't handle it well tomorrow, your image in the village may be shattered." "If I can't handle such a small matter, then am I still Su Yun?" Su Yun smiled slightly and said confidently, "Well, a night of spring is worth 1,000 gold. Let's not waste time. Let's go to bed early so that we won't be disturbed by the passing cars at night." After that, Su Yun lay on the bed in the room. "It's so comfortable. This mattress is really thick. It's not uncomfortable at all." Ruan Qingshuang's pretty face blushed. "Screw you. Hurry up and take a shower. You're covered in dust. How can you go to bed? Hurry up. After washing, put the clothes that need to be changed directly in the basin. I'll help you wash later." "Yes." Su Yun immediately got up and took a shower. Living in this environment, even if he took 8 showers a day, he wouldn't feel clean. There was too much dust. There was really no way to deal with it. Chapter 2088. That night, Su Yun didn't sleep well. Once again, the sound of the convoy transporting stones up the mountain woke up the whole village. Some of the drivers were very bad. They couldn't sleep at night, but they didn't want others to sleep well. When they passed the village, they deliberately honked. That ear-piercing sound caused Su Yun's spirit to weaken. If it wasn't for Ruan Qingshuang repeatedly using her gentleness to control Su Yun's emotions, Su Yun would have directly gone out and knocked them all down. They were 2F** king wicked, 2F** king uncultured. It was simply the behavior of a B** starred. It wasn't easy to stay up until morning. Su Yun was still sleepy and uncomfortable. Then there was the sound of the convoy again. The convoy drove through the village and went directly to the stone factory at the back of the mountain. After more than 20 stone trucks drove past, Su Yun got up. Ruan Qingshuang knew what he was going to do, so she quickly put on her clothes. At this time, Mother Ruan had already cooked eggs and porridge. Elderly people were more easily stimulated, so the sound of the cars made Mother Ruan sleep late and wake up early every day. She didn't get enough rest at all. Seeing that Su Yun got up, she quickly called Su Yun to eat. Su Yun took out the car key. "Wait for me to block this road first, then we can eat." Su Yun started the car and drove directly to the middle of the road. This place was where the village's street lamp was broken. Now the broken lamp post was still lying there. It looked quite miserable. Old Zhang and Little Zhang didn't let Su Yun down. When the stone trucks entered the mountain, they immediately went out to mobilize. Because the sound of the passing cars was too loud, the people in the village woke up and no one was disturbed. "Everyone come out. Finally, someone can make decisions for us." Little Zhang's mobilization was tearful. Many people decided to stand up again for their own interests. Of course, there were also people who were really afraid and didn't dare to show up. But later on, little Zhang said that they could get money by washing their cars with a basin. This attracted a lot of people. Soon the villagers surrounded Su Yun's car. The whole road was also surrounded by Su Yun's car and the villagers. Because it was too early, some people were still slurping their bowls of porridge or corn paste, while a few burly men were filling bowls as big as wash basins with noodles. They were slurping their bowls loudly. Nanny Ruan came over and motioned for Su Yun to go home for dinner first because the motorcade would not come down for a while, and they still had to fill up the stones. Su Yun could not leave. Once he left, the hearts of the villagers would scatter. These were the people that little Zhang had gathered with great difficulty. Ruan Qingshuang knew what Su Yun was thinking. Mom, take out the eggs you cooked. Su Yun and I will eat here. Eating here. That's not right. Nanny Ruan felt that it was not very good. After all, Su Yun was the son-in-law of their family. Eating breakfast on the roadside. Wouldn't that be the same as those rough farmers? A few villagers who were squatting by the roadside and drinking noodles heard Nanny Ruan's words and laughed and joked. Our old Ruan family is different now. Our status is different. We have to eat with what is it called? The dining table? No, it's the dining table. Su Yun also laughed and said, It's good to eat here. It's so artistic. I'll eat here. Nanny Ruan had no choice but to send out the egg rolls and the hot soup. Su Yun did not care about his image. He gulped down the food, no different from the farmers on the roadside. Nanny Ruan cooked a lot of eggs. Su Yun could not eat them all by himself. Su Yun knew that Lao Zhang and Xiao Zhang were busy getting up early in the morning and definitely did not eat. He grabbed the eggs and threw them to the father and son, letting them eat together. There were also some children in the village present. Su Yun also gave one to each of them. If it was in the past, Nanny Ruan would definitely be distressed about so many eggs. But now life was different. She did not feel distressed. Is it enough? If not, I'll cook more. It's enough. Su Yun laughed. Eating and chatting with so many people, except that the environment was a little bad, there was nothing else. Now that the stone factory had started to operate, the environment would start to get worse with the operation of the stone factory. If Su Yun could still eat outside now, then in an hour, he really could not eat. The impact of the dust was very serious with the wind. Fortunately, the wind direction was not bad today, so the dust in the village was not bad. At least people could stand outside. Su Yun and the villagers chatted here. A few teenagers helped Su Yun wash the car. They washed it over and over again, carrying basin after basin of water. Soon, the sound of wheels and engines roared in the distance. Everyone knew that the big stone trucks were about to come down. In an instant, the lively crowd became silent. A few timid people were already preparing to leave in a panic. The others who had the courage to stay were also very nervous, as if they were facing a big enemy. Su Yun really felt that the people from the Yude cement factory and the stone factory were a group of devils to the villagers. The villagers were frightened when they heard their voices. Brother Su Yun, they are coming. Xiao Zhang was nervous. We are now. It's okay. Don't worry. Su Yun smiled. They won't dare to hit. Although Su Yun was present, there were still some people who were worried. Someone said, they have always been very arrogant. A driver said that if he blocked the road, he would directly kill us. He said that we were rural residents and would be done with a compensation of 300,000 yuan. Our lives are not worth anything. Su Yun really believed these words. It was not that such accidents did not happen. They really bullied the villagers. It was okay. They did not have any connections. They really could just pay 300,000 yuan and be done with it. However, Su Yun smiled. Don't be afraid. They are just bluffing. Don't talk about touching people. Even if I put this car here, they won't dare to touch it. The villagers did not know that this car was worth more than 2 million yuan. Those drivers dared to touch people because the car insurance could afford to pay 300,000 yuan. However, they did not dare to touch this car because their insurance could not afford to touch such a luxury car. They really did not dare to. It was not a joke. Really? Some people were surprised, some were puzzled, and some couldn't believe it. However, the big car was getting closer and closer. Everyone did not dare to take the risk and dispersed. Only Su-Yun was still standing calmly by the front of the car. The transport truck full of stones began to honk madly 200 meters away. But Su-Yun had no intention of leaving. When the driver of the big car saw that it was a Kian, he slammed on the brakes. Such a heavy car could not be braked in a short distance. With his current speed, the braking distance was at least more than 100 meters. After all, this car could not be compared with a small bridge car. The crazy car finally stopped more than 10 meters in front of Su-Yun and the Kian. When a car was forced to stop, the cars behind naturally followed. One after another, they all stopped. The driver of the first car jumped out directly and scolded Su-Yun. King want to die. After scolding, the driver was a little regretful. After all, the person who could drive such a luxury car was definitely not an ordinary person. But who cared if he was an ordinary person or not? He was almost scared to death. So what if he scolded him? Moreover, there were so many villagers around him. They had to be tough. Otherwise, these villagers would not be afraid of them. The license plate is so dirty that it can't be seen clearly. This is a violation of the traffic law. Do you know? Su-Yun laughed disdainfully. This guy scolded him as soon as he opened his mouth, which indeed made him very unhappy. Did you not learn well during the driving test? If you didn't learn well, go back to the furnace and rebuild. Aya, what are you? Are you a traffic police? You are so nosy. The driver glared. Quickly move your car away. We are in a hurry to deliver the goods. There are so many cars. You can't afford to delay. Don't think that you are so great just because you drive a Kian. Do you understand? I am warning you once. Move away. Chapter 2089. Su-Yun saw that the head of the team was quite arrogant. It seemed that he was used to showing off. He really didn't know who gave him a sense of superiority. Did the leader of Yuda Cement give it to him? Then if he drove for Celestial Treasure and his boss was more powerful, wouldn't he be arrogant? Yes, I just think that the person who drives the Kian is very bad *SS. Why don't you crash one for me to see? Su-Yun couldn't stand this kind of person who relied on others' power. They were all ordinary people trying to make a living. Was there a need to bully others like this? The head of the team was stunned. This young man's words were really aggressive. He didn't know his identity and had some concerns more or less. Brother, can you be as bad *SS as the boss of Yuda Cement Factory? You should think clearly about who you are provoking. How dare you come here to fight for justice? As far as I know, Yuda Cement is not a state-owned building material acquisition. How powerful can the boss of a small private company be? Su-Yun disdained. Continue to pretend. Yesterday, he used his mobile phone to check the information of Yuda Cement before going to bed. I don't think you are a local. You don't know the situation at all. The head of the team sneered. Do you know what relationship is? In our county, whether it is the secretary or the mayor, who doesn't give face to our boss. Do you know the relationship between our boss and the director of the Public Security Bureau? Do you know the relationship between our boss and the director of the Environmental Protection Bureau? What do I know? Su-Yun was stunned. I'm not a relative of your boss. I knew you didn't know. If you knew, you wouldn't have come here to find trouble. The head of the team also roughly understood the situation. This unknown kid wanted to support these villagers. These unruly people can do it. They can even find such a Kian driver to support them? It's a pity that this matter can't be solved by finding someone to support them. As a driver, he didn't dare to offend this unknown young man with a luxury car, but his boss certainly dared. The boss's son, who had just turned 16, had already driven a Kian to school. Not old enough. Can't get a driver's license? The traffic police of the small county didn't even check drunk driving on weekdays. There were too few people. Those who dared to drink and drive were also related to the leaders. No one wanted to find trouble with that. Think about it. A 16-year-old who drove a Kian to school. How could his family not be related to the leaders? Therefore, some laws and regulations were nothing in front of the rich and powerful. So what if I know that your boss is related to the leaders of your county? Su-yin smiled. Do you know why I'm here? The leader of the convoy was startled. Brother, did the villagers find a way to get you here? You want to help them vent their anger. Is it worth it? Hearing this, the villagers were all unhappy. They all started talking at once. Some of them even started cursing. They felt that the team leader was looking down on them. At this time, little Zhang pointed at the head of the convoy and said, Brother Su-yin, this is the person who drove the car and broke the street lamp. Su-yin nodded. Did you see that? Someone has already identified you. You broke the street lamp. The driver snorted in disdain. That's right. I was the one who broke it. So what? I didn't see clearly in the middle of the night. Who wouldn't get into trouble? It's just a street lamp. So what if I broke it? Who asked this damn poor village to turn off the street lamp at 8 o'clock at night? The street lamp is used by the villagers. We need to save energy at night. Of course, we don't turn it on so late. Little Zhang said. It's you who drove around so late at night. That's why you broke the street lamp. Get lost, you son of a bitch. The leader of the convoy wasn't polite at all to little Zhang. Looking at little Zhang's old clothes, he knew that he was a bumpkin from the village. So what if I hit it? Kid, let me tell you. I'll remember your face. Don't King wander around on the road. Be careful or I'll kill you. This threat was too straightforward. It was so arrogant that it made people feel disgusted. Little Zhang was trembling with anger, but he didn't dare to say anything. He didn't have the courage to criticize the other party's overbearingness like Su-yin did. Wan Qingshuang snorted coldly. You're like a fox pretending to be a tiger. You have no respect for the law. When the leader of the convoy saw such a delicate woman, of course, he knew that this girl wasn't from the village. Beauty, your words are really unpleasant. I advise you to ask your man to make way for us. Don't wait for things to get out of hand. You won't have a good time if that happens. Wan Qingshuang couldn't be bothered with this kind of person. She snorted heavily. Su-yin pointed at the street lamp. You admit that you broke it. The leader of the convoy raised his head and said rudely, That's right. I broke it. What do you want? At this time, more than 20 big cars stopped. All the drivers walked over to the leader of the convoy. 7 or 8 of them were holding a large wrench for repairing the car. It seemed that they were prepared. After all, the boss had made it clear to them that as long as anyone in the village provoked them and caused trouble, they could do whatever they wanted. Even if they were beaten to death or crippled, it would all be on him. It had nothing to do with them. Just based on the boss's words, they were all extremely arrogant. Brother, listen to me. The driver said. Even if I break all of them, they can't do anything to me, let alone break one. Ask them, where's their branch secretary? Is he still half dead in the hospital? Hearing this, Xiao Zhang and the other villagers all felt guilty. Don't call me brother. Do you think you're worthy of being my brother? Su-yin frowned disapprovingly and said in a displeased tone. I'm telling you. You better listen carefully. I paid for the street lamps on this road. Do you understand? What you broke is my thing. Facing Su-yin's sudden arrogance, the leader of the convoy was a little angry, but he still suppressed it. Are you here to help the poor? You don't have to worry about me. Since you admitted that you broke the street lamp, let's talk about it. Su-yin, don't talk nonsense with me. Just tell me how to deal with it. The leader of the convoy wanted to talk about how strong his boss's relationship was, but this guy didn't give him a chance to speak. Okay. Then tell me, what do you want to do? How do you want to deal with it? The leader of the convoy stared at him. He wanted to see what this guy was thinking. Compensate me, Su-yin. You broke my thing. Don't you think it's unreasonable to not compensate? The leader of the convoy was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the driver of the Qian would ask for money. He looked at the street lamp. It wasn't anything advanced. It was very simple. At most, it should be 10,000 yuan. How much do you want? The leader of the convoy stared at Su-yin. Name a price. I'll ask my boss to send it to your house personally. You don't have to trouble your boss. I'll wait here. Cash will do. Su-yin. 1 street lamp, 20 million yuan. No bargaining. 2,000 yuan wasn't expensive. The leader of the convoy thought to himself, wait, something's wrong. Did this guy say 2,000 yuan? 20 million. 10,000. Although 2,000 yuan couldn't buy a street lamp, 20 million yuan? What street lamp is worth 20 million yuan? What kind of joke is this? The leader of the convoy's face darkened. Kid, are you joking with me? 20 million yuan? You want me to pay you 20 million yuan for this street lamp? Are you deaf? If you are, I recommend you to buy a hearing aid. Otherwise, it'll be hard for others to talk to you. Su Yun. I've said it very clearly. One street lamp, 20 million yuan. Don't waste time. Cash. Ask your boss to send it to you. To the villagers, 20 million was an astronomical figure that they couldn't even imagine. How high would 20 million be when stacked together? They all stared at each other. They all felt that Su Yun's words were too amazing. Xiao Zheng's admiration for Su Yun was endless. Su Yun looked like someone who had seen the world. Tens of millions was nothing to him. Chapter 2090. The head of the fleet gritted his teeth and looked at Su Yun, who was asking for an exorbitant price. Kid, aren't you afraid that you won't have the life to spend the money? You don't have to worry about that. Su Yun. You get someone to send the money to me. Even if I throw it away in front of you, you can't do anything about it. Do you understand? My life is very tough. I'll have to trouble you to worry about it for me. At this time, a few guys holding wrenches at the back of the motorcade couldn't hold it in anymore. They were all hot-tempered. Their cars were blocked, which was equivalent to blocking their way of making money. They calculated by the number of trips they made. They knew how much money each trip made. If they were delayed like this, they would also lose their income. Hence, a few people with bad tempers already wanted to use wrenches. Head, why are you talking nonsense with him? We have so many people. Why are we afraid of him? Isn't he not going to move his car? Let's hit him until he moves his car. Let's see how tough this kid's bones are. Someone had already started to shout. Hearing this person shouting, a child who had just eaten Su Yun's egg picked up a stone and threw it over. It hit the guy's knee directly. F***ck. Who the F***ck hit me? The child's mother hurriedly hugged the child in her arms and didn't dare to make a sound. The kid who threw the stone was very happy. It was a good feeling to not be discovered. He also felt that he didn't eat Uncle Su Yun's egg for nothing. Of course, Su Yun saw this kid's behavior. He thought that he would grow up to be a person who wouldn't be bullied. As long as he walked the right path, he would definitely be successful. Head, don't think about it. Do it. Seeing that the head of the fleet refused to give the order, a few people with bad tempers started to shout again. Especially the one who was hit. His eyes were bigger than anyone else's. The reason why the head of the fleet could become the head of the fleet was that he had a calmer side than others. When he encountered something, he wouldn't be so impulsive. He would consider things more clearly because he knew that any of his actions could trigger an incident. All of you, stop right now. Those who should shut up, shut up. The head of the fleet was already in a very bad mood. He stared at Su Yun again. You want 20 million, right? Okay. I'll apply for it for you, but if I don't get it, then don't blame us. From his sarcastic tone, Su Yun knew that he was up to no good. Okay, apply. Hurry up and call your boss. These people were all working for the sports car. They weren't the real masterminds behind the scenes. Su Yun didn't mean to make things difficult for them. It was just that they were too good at pretending. Su Yun couldn't stand it anymore. Otherwise, why would Su Yun make things difficult for them? These people's sins were at most that they used their connections to intimidate others. They drove around the village recklessly. They would change after a good beating. However, Su Yun was looking for the culprit. The culprit must be someone who was still sleeping comfortably in bed at this hour. The head of the motorcade had no right to directly find the real boss of Yuda Cement. He quickly contacted the person in charge of the stone mining, Wan Chengkong. Director Wan, where are you now? Wan Chengkong was still confused when he received the call. I'm in the car, heading to the quarry. What's wrong? Is there a situation? There is a situation. We're waiting for you to deal with it, the head of the motorcade said. Isn't it just a rush to send a batch of stones? What situation can there be? Wan Chengkong was a little impatient. I asked Lu Bo to stay at the stone factory yesterday. You can just contact him when you load the car and leave today. Hurry up and send this batch of stones out as soon as possible. That's all. Director Wan. Don't hang up. There's a situation. Someone had blocked the road. We can't send the stones out even if we're full. The head of the motorcade shouted. If he continued to beat around the bush, this guy would really hang up. Wan Chengkong was stunned. Blocked the road? You said the villagers blocked the road? Didn't the boss say that it doesn't matter if the villagers block the road and kill them? Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. The insurance company will pay for it. What are you afraid of? If you kill them, I'll give you 20,000 yuan as compensation. The head of the motorcade was speechless. It's not the villagers blocking the road. There's a black Porsche Cayenne blocking the road. Such a good car. The insurance of the transport car can't afford it. Black Porsche Cayenne. Wan Chengkong's mind immediately flashed with yesterday's scene. Could it be that the black Porsche Cayenne that went to the stone factory was a freaking spy? What's the situation? Who's in the car? Wan Chengkong was a little nervous. He sped up and was almost there. Have you stabilized the situation? It's a young man. The head of the motorcade said. He said that the streetlights in the village were installed by him. A while ago, you let me break one of them. He said that he wanted to show the villagers the power of a big car. Now, that kid is asking for an exorbitant price. He wants to pay him 20 million yuan for the streetlights. Pay. F***K. This kid is here to bullsh**T. What bullsh**T streetlights are worth 20 million? Wan Chengkong was angry. Is that guy cheating? Is he playing with us? Let me tell you, don't let him escape. I'll be there soon. I want to see who the hell dares to ask us for 20 million yuan. He's tired of living. Tell him, if he wants 20 million yuan, I'll kill him and burn his money for him. After that, Wan Chengkong angrily hung up the phone. He was really tired of living. He wanted to see who was so arrogant to provoke the king of hell. The head of the motorcade now had confidence. After hanging up the phone, he said to Su Yun, "You wait, our leader will be here soon. My leader also said that he wants money, right? Sure, he'll kill you and burn your money for you." Arrogant, too arrogant. Su Yun felt that he was already arrogant enough. He didn't expect that there would be someone more arrogant than him. The main thing was that it was hard to say if this person had the capital to be arrogant. If he was a coward who wasn't enough for him to play with, wouldn't it be too boring? Su Yun chuckled. Forget about the hell money. Let him keep it as a tribute to his ancestors. Just wait. Don't worry. Since I'm here, I have plenty of time. You all can stay here with me. The bad-tempered guy raised his wrench and pointed at Su Yun. Don't be fooled by your arrogance now. Wait for me later. If you delay me from making money, be careful that I don't break your brain. Knock it now if you have the guts. Do you know what kind of people I despise the most? Su Yun said. Well, let's put it this way. I despise barking dogs that don't bite. I'll F***King. You better F***King stop. The head of the motorcade stopped him. It wasn't that he wasn't anxious, but the current situation required Director Wan to make a decision. Otherwise, he would have to bear the responsibility if something went wrong. As long as Director Wan was here, he could do whatever he wanted. He wouldn't have to bear the responsibility. The bad-tempered guy dropped the wrench and suppressed his anger. Endure it. He had to hold it in. When Director Wan arrived later, he would vent his anger and vent all of his resentment. As long as Director Wan agreed, he would really break that guy's leg. Wan Chengkong ran all the way. As soon as he entered the village, the dust raised by the Tiguan made the sky dark. 10 minutes later, he saw that the only road to the stone factory was blocked. The black Cayenne was indeed the one from yesterday. Squeak. A divine car was a divine car. The brakes were sharp and powerful. The Tiguan stopped 5 meters away from the Cayenne. Wan Chengkong opened the door and jumped out of the car. He was one of the organizers who brought people to hurt the villagers. The villagers hated and feared him. Wan Chengkong proudly walked through the crowd and directly came to the center where Su Yun and the two people at the front of the convoy were. Although he had already determined who the culprit was based on their attire, he still did not look directly at Su Yun. Who is it? Who the F***ck is making trouble? Wan Chengkong said to the head of the motorcade. Before the head of the motorcade spoke, Su Yun said, "Are you blind?" Wan Chengkong's first sentence made him breathless for a long time. Who the F***ck dared to talk to him like this in this place? Not to mention the stone factory, even in the entire Yuda cement factory, there were only a few who dared to talk to him like this. Chapter 2091. Wan Chengkong turned around and glared at Su Yun. He pointed at Su Yun fiercely. "It was you yesterday, right? Driving to the stone factory. Kid, you have guts. Is that a place where you can go?" Su Yun smiled. "You didn't eat enough dust yesterday, right? Why are you speaking without confidence?" Wan Chengkong gritted his teeth. "Are you pretending? You think you're great, right? Let me tell you. This is the stone factory of Yuda Cement. You'd better be smart. If you make trouble here, you're looking for death." "Don't just talk. I'm looking for death." "Su Yun, do you dare to touch me, or do you dare to touch my car? If you don't dare to do anything, then don't brag." "Kid, today our stone factory is very busy. I don't have time to waste with you," Wan Chengkong said. "You want money, right? You want money for streetlights, right? Let my car out. Follow me to the stone factory to get the money for street lights." Su Yun grinned and shook his head. "That can't be done. If I let your car out, I won't have a trump card. Follow you to the stone factory to get the money? You want to bury me in it, right?" Wan Chengkong snorted. "Are you afraid of death? If you're afraid of death, then don't F***king do this kind of thing. Okay, I don't think you're a person with guts." "Su Yun, if you really have the guts to touch me, you would have let your people do it already. You have concerns, right? You're afraid that you can't afford to offend me, right? You think that even if I drive a good car, my identity is not necessarily something you can handle, right?" Su Yun had very bluntly exposed what Wan Chengkong was thinking in his heart. He really had scruples. This was not a lie at all. It was like the head of the team wanted him to deal with it and let Wan Chengkong take the responsibility. When Wan Chengkong really arrived at the scene, he suddenly realized that he might not be able to take the responsibility. Anyone would have scruples. He was only the person in charge of a small stone factory. If he took the blame and no one supported him in the end, wouldn't he be dead? "Let's make a call and ask the main character what we should do," Su Yun said. Although Wan Chengkong's face had been completely destroyed by Su Yun's words, he had to admit that compared to his face, some things were more important. This brat dared to block them in such an unbridled manner. Who the hell knew where he came from? In the end, Wan Chengkong dialed the phone number of the real owner of the Yuda cement factory under the contemptuous looks of the motorcade. "Director Huang, I have a tricky matter to report to you." Wan Chengkong was actually quite afraid of Huang Haihe, because Huang Haihe had a very bad temper. Usually, during meetings, he would always open his mouth and scold people. Behind his back, there were many people who called him Old Heretic Huang. They felt that Huang Haihe's temper was too strange. Many times, even a very, very small matter could make him fly into a rage. Basically, everyone would be scolded by Huang Haihe once a day. Only then would Huang Haihe feel comfortable in his heart. However, who asked him to be the boss? He had to listen to whoever he was working for. This was something that everyone knew. No matter how bad Huang Haihe's temper was, his subordinates still had to obey him. There was no other way. They were eating the food that he gave them. "Speak." Huang Haihe had just woken up and was still in a bad mood. When he received the call, he was slightly unhappy. However, when he heard that Wan Chengkong had something to report, he quickly calmed himself down. The recent matter at the stone factory had caused him quite a headache. Fortunately, everything was settled. Some unruly people couldn't make a splash at all. Someone blocked the transport truck in the village. Wan Chengkong said carefully. When Huang Haihe heard this, he scolded. "What did I raise you for? Wan Chengkong? What did you eat to grow up? Do you still need to report such a trivial matter to me? Think of a way yourself. Hit. I don't care what method you use. Open the road for me. What do those villagers have? Didn't I already say that I'll take care of everything? In that place, you're the F***king local tyrant. You can do whatever you want. No one dares to do anything to you even if you F***ck the widow of any family. Do you understand? In the face of Huang Haihe's scolding, Wan Chengkong could only endure. When Huang Haihe vented all his anger, he continued. It wasn't the villagers who blocked it. It was a young man who drove a Qian. Huang Haihe was stunned. Who wants to die? This kid said that he paid for the street lights in the village. Our car broke one of them. He asked for 20 million. Wan Chengkong said, President Huang, I don't know the background of this kid this. So what? Then you gave him 20 million. Huang Haihe glared. Let me tell you, king rich person wouldn't talk about money. He wouldn't mix with a group of unruly people in a poor place. How do you know that the car wasn't rented by him? Wan Chengkong took a deep breath. That's right, why didn't he consider this point? Wan Chengkong, how many people do you have? How many people do you have in your convoy? You can't beat them, right? The more Huang Haihe said, the angrier he got. You king have so many people, and you can't even deal with one person. You still have the face to call me. If this matter can't be solved, get out of here tomorrow. Don't do it anymore. Yes, I will take care of this matter. Wan Chengkong received clear instructions and had a plan in his heart. After Huang Haihe hung up the phone, he scolded for a while. Now his subordinates were making him feel that they were incapable. If they were really capable, why would they need to report to him? It had already been dealt with quickly and neatly. This Wan Chengkong was really incapable and irresponsible. He was always afraid of the wolf and the tiger. Huang Haihe really regretted handing over the stone factory to him. If it was a capable person, would the villagers still be able to cause trouble in front of his Uda cement factory? Of course not. This idiot. Huang Haihe decided that if Wan Chengkong couldn't handle this matter well, he would get out of here and go back to work in the cement factory. How could a person without any ability be a leader? T. Trash. A group of good-for-nothings. Huang Haihe gritted his teeth. Godfather, why are you so angry? I'm not in the mood at all. A young woman in her 20s was lying on Huang Haihe's bed. Her hair was messy, and she was naked. She had a delicate face. Huang Haihe looked back at the woman. Okay. You want a bag because you're not in the mood, right? The young woman immediately crawled over coquettishly. Her whole chest was attached to Huang Haihe's back. Godfather understands me. You know what I want when I'm in a bad mood, Huang Haihe said with a dull face. Then what your godfather wants when I'm in a bad mood, do you know? Of course I know, the young woman said. Godfather wants me the most when you're in a bad mood. Godfather, I like your heroic style in bed the most. This flattery. A middle-aged Huang Haihe who had been hollowed out couldn't even last 2 minutes in bed. She actually said that he was heroic? Girls these days are really willing to do anything for the sake of a bag. Huang Haihe directly lifted the quilt. His huge body pressed the woman under his body. If you reap without sowing, you'll be at the mercy of others. This was Huang Haihe's view of young girls nowadays. As long as there was a girl who wanted to reap without sowing, he could see it at a glance. This kind of girl was worthless in his eyes, because those bags that were worth tens of thousands in their eyes were also worthless in Huang Haihe's eyes. These girls were just like those bags. Whoever had the money could carry them. Of course, like those bags, sooner or later, they would be seen. At that time, they could only be thrown to a corner, and no one would care about them anymore, because an old bag that was carried by others was no longer valuable. Chapter 2092. Wan Chengkong put away his mobile phone and said to Su Yun, Our boss said that the money is for you. After a pause, Wan Chengkong said coldly, I'll burn it for you. Hearing this, the people in the motorcade understood what it meant. They were all rubbing their fists. They should have done it long ago. They had been dawdling for so long. What are you waiting for? Beat them up. Everyone present was counted as one. Beat them up. Wan Chengkong was scolded by Huang Haihe. Of course he was unhappy. He also wanted to vent it out. When the villagers saw that these people were going to fight again, they were all frightened. Some timid people had already run away. Some of the onlookers also quickly left with their children. No one wanted to cause trouble. The only ones who could stand together with Su Yin were little Zhang and a few other youngsters. Yes, there was also the little guy who dared to hit people with a stone just now. At this time, he had already nimbly climbed to the big tree by the road. He took out the slingshot at his waist and the stones in his pocket. He was ready to fight at any time. F***CKU. I'll be the first to cripple you. The guy who had a bad temper just now picked up a wrench and rushed to Su Yun. Xiao Zhang exclaimed, "Brother Su Yun, be careful." But Su Yun didn't move. Su Yun knew that there was still his little bodyguard on the tree. Just when the guy with a bad temper rushed to Su Yun, he suddenly screamed. The wrench in his hand was directly thrown to the ground. He covered his face and knelt on the ground in pain. After a while, the blood oozed out between his fingers. Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The kid on the tree was ruthless enough. He directly aimed at the eyes and hit. Under the lead of one person, everyone rushed over. But they were drivers after all. Against Su Yun, even a group of professional thugs couldn't have any advantage, let alone them. Su Yun didn't kill them. They were all out to make a living. It was just that these guys were like dogs threatening others with their master's power. Otherwise, Su Yun wouldn't have taught them a lesson. Everyone who passed through Su Yun's hands was knocked down. There would definitely be physical pain, but Su Yun would not hurt their hands and feet. After all, the hands and feet of a driver were very important. If they were seriously injured, wouldn't there be more killers on the road in the future? Little Zhang was dumbfounded. He had been looking for an opportunity to beat someone up, but Su Yun didn't give any of them a chance. With a few punches and kicks, he cleanly knocked everyone down. His movements were quite domineering, especially the last side kick, which sent the car captain flying 5 to 6 meters. The captain fell to the ground. His head was bleeding. Although it looked serious, he didn't really hurt his bones. Seeing more than 20 people being knocked down by Su Yun in the blink of an eye, Wan Chengkong was shocked. This guy had practiced before. 2F** King Professional. He had seen this kind of person in movies. Yes. What special forces, what killing wolves, what were wolves. Only the people in those movies had this kind of ability. You who the hell are you? Wan Chengkong's legs kept trembling. He was really scared. I'm here to teach you a lesson. Su Yun smiled. Director Wan, right? How about it? Do you have 20 million? It's too late for you to go to the mountain to call for help. It's too late to call for help. Give me the money. Wan Chengkong shook his head. How can I have so much money? Little brother, let's talk about it. Don't do it first. My body is not good. My cervical spine and lumbar spine are not good. Don't do it. You sound like you're threatening me? You can't afford it if I beat you until you're disabled, right? Su Yun. You pay me 20 million. After I beat you up, I'll give you some more. It's okay. The wool comes from the sheep's back. I'm not worried. Wan Chengkong quickly raised his hands. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'll call our boss now and let him talk to you. Is that okay? I didn't make the decision here. It's our boss. If there's anything, you can talk to him. Is that okay? Su Yun nodded. That's more like it. Hurry up and let him send the money. I don't have much patience. Right away. Right away. Wan Chengkong quickly called. Huang Haihe, who was wriggling on the girl's body, received a call from Wan Chengkong again. At that time he lost interest. He picked up the phone and scolded. Did I reimburse you too much for your phone bill? Hit. You only know how to call all day long. What the F***ck is it? When Huang Haihe answered the phone, the girl got up and went to take a shower. Anyway, she didn't feel any pleasure. It was like a pig was on top of her. No matter what, she had to get today's bag. She didn't know that her godfather wouldn't be in the mood to buy her bags in the future. President Huang. I really don't know what to do. Wan Chengkong said. This guy he is simply just. Our people are all down. We aren't his opponent at all. I beg you, President Huang. I really can't handle this matter. Huang Haiha's eyebrows were directly twisted into a knot. Everyone is down. How many people are there? Just one. Wan Chengkong said. If you don't come, I can't keep it. Huang Haiha scolded him. He really didn't believe that a person could set off a big wave. Wan Chengkong, you listen to me. Tomorrow you will pack up and go to the workshop of the cement factory to work for me. I'd rather raise a F***king dog than you. Wan Chengkong was scolded badly, but he had no choice but to nod. President Huang, even if you want me to guard the door, I really can't handle it. He wants 20 million. You can talk to him about this. Bastard. You tell that kid to wait for me. I really want to see if he is a Neza with 3 heads and 6 arms. Huang Haiha scolded angrily. In their county, no one dared to go against Huang Haiha. They didn't even look at his relationship with the leaders in the city. Huang Haiha hung up the phone angrily and began to put on his clothes. The girl who took a shower quickly ran out. Godfather, are we going to buy bags now? Buy bags, buy bags. You only know how to buy bags all day long. F***ck off. When Huang Haiha was angry, he definitely didn't recognize anyone. Even if his biological father was here, he would still scold him, let alone a girl he kept as a mistress. The girl cried when she was scolded. She had always used acting coquettishly as a weapon, but today, this weapon was useless. Huang Haiha didn't pay attention to her at all. While he was putting on his clothes, he asked the driver to pick him up. After hanging up the phone, he immediately called one of his subordinates and asked him to immediately contact someone. Today he would give him 50 brothers who were good at fighting. They would bring good weapons and follow him to the village to teach those unruly people a lesson. This time he, Huang Haiha, wanted to destroy this village. He wanted to let them know the consequences of going against Huang Haiha. Even if Neza really came, he would burn his red armillary sash, melt his wind-fire wheels, and break that little spear in his hand. He wanted to let him know that in this place, he, Huang Haiha, wasn't afraid of even the Jade Emperor. Seeing Huang Haiha put on his clothes and hurried downstairs, the girl threw a tantrum and threw everything on the bed to the ground. Damn it. This Huang Haiha was an old bastard who didn't recognize anyone when he put on his pants. She should go and find her boyfriend to accompany her to watch a movie. At this time, Huang Haiha's driver was already waiting downstairs. Usually, when Huang Haiha went to the hotel to get a room, he would also get a room for him. The driver was used to it. After getting a room, Huang Haiha would usually bring the girl to the mall to buy something. However, this time he was very surprised. Huang Haiha got into the car angrily and didn't bring the girl. Go to the stone factory. Immediately. Drive faster. Huang Haiha wasn't afraid of speeding or red lights. His Land Rover Range Rover's license plate was fixed, so no one dared to check it. There was no other way. He had strong connections. There were people. He was willful. That girl. Are you F***king my driver or that green TB***TCH's driver? Huang Haiha stared at him. If I ask you to drive, then F***king drive. I'm in a hurry. The driver was also used to Huang Haiha's bad temper. He immediately drove and didn't think much about being scolded. He probably couldn't even remember how many times he was scolded today. It didn't matter. If he was scolded, then so be it. As long as he was paid on time, nothing else mattered. Wasn't the purpose of a person's life to earn money? Wasn't the purpose of earning money to live a carefree life? Every time Huang Haiha got a room outside and brought him here, he would also order special services from the hotel. Chapter 2093. Huang Haiha kept urging the driver to drive faster along the way. There were several dangerous situations caused by running red lights. The driver was shocked and sweating, but Huang Haiha didn't care about social public safety at all. He didn't believe that in this small county with less than 500,000 people, there would be people who didn't recognize his car, who didn't know that this car belonged to him, Huang Haiha. Other than him, Huang Haiha, who the F***ck dared to use a military license plate. Huang Haihe's Land Rover Range Rover was indeed recognized by most people. There were very few people who encountered his car on the road who hadn't been bullied by him. All the drivers in their county had heard of such an incident. One night, Huang Haihe was so happy that he insisted on driving himself to test his power. He forcefully merged on the road and lost an Audi A6. The Audi driver was a young man in his 20s who had just graduated from college. He had been studying in other places for 4 years. His family's curtain factory was getting more and more popular. When he returned home, his family got an Audi. Young people, they couldn't control themselves and could only show off. Think about it, he drove his family's Audi right after graduation. What about his classmates? They started to consider buying a car for marriage and finding a partner. Most ordinary families considered more than 100,000 yuan, such as Longyi, Golf, Focus, Cruise. In a small county of this level, the family must be relatively rich and powerful. Only then would they consider things like Regal, Mondu, and so on. The legitimate second generation only had 4 circles of A4, but he got an A6. Naturally, he was so proud that he didn't know what his surname was. When he encountered a car that was stuck in traffic, he didn't care if it was a Land Rover or not. He didn't give in at all. Unfortunately, he encountered Huang Haihe. Huang Haihe's legitimate identity was the boss of Yudao Cement Factory, the top 10 outstanding entrepreneurs in the county, and the trophy of the elite in the building materials industry. But as long as he was unreasonable, he was the big gangster and big bully here. In this small county, Huang Haihe had connections with both the black and white. Who was he afraid of? His car, except for the municipal party secretary's Passat, he wouldn't provoke it. He didn't care about the other cars. What bullsh** T Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi? They were nothing in Huang Haihe's eyes. Huang Haihe had forcefully merged the lines. He had never thought that there would be someone who would dare to stop him. In the end, he had met a fearless university brat who had just graduated and didn't know anything. He had bumped into him with his arrogance. The young man stopped the car and wanted to ask for an explanation. Unexpectedly, Huang Haihe got out of the car and reeked of alcohol. Driving under the influence of alcohol, forcing a lane change. This responsibility was 10,000% on Huang Haihe. However, these violations were meaningless. Huang Haihe wasn't afraid at all. The moment he got out of the car, he stepped forward and gave the young man a kick. He had actually kicked a child's ball and caused it to burst. That was not all. 3 of his underlings got out of the car and gave the young man a good beating. In the end, Huang Haihe took a fire extinguisher and smashed it on the young man's head. This young man would never have imagined that he would get a concussion from Huang Haihe's car, just because he thought he could show off now that he was driving an Audi. The hospital spent a long time trying to resuscitate the half-dead child. Although his life was saved, he lost his memory and couldn't even recognize his own parents. But what happened in the end? The matter was still left unsettled. Huang Haihe was still acting like a tyrant on the streets. Therefore, all the drivers in the county avoided him when driving. Usually, if a young man drove out of the house, the adults would tell him not to provoke Huang Haihe's Land Rover. Be careful that he doesn't beat you up until your parents can't recognize you. Huang Haihe was just that domineering. Therefore, even though he stayed in the hotel in the center of the county, it took him less than 20 minutes to reach this remote village. This was the second time Huang Haihe had come to this village. The first time was to choose a place. After choosing a place, he didn't come again. He remembered that this village was quite clean in the past. The grass and trees were green. But now, it was completely different. Now, the leaves were king gray. Once a car passed through the village, the road would be filled with sand and stones. Wait at the village entrance. Huang Haihe said. The people he arranged had not arrived yet. He was afraid that they wouldn't be able to find the place. After all, this place had changed too much. The driver braked and stopped. He looked around in surprise. Director Huang, we've come to the wrong place. Why do I remember this place not being like this in the past? Huang Haihe knew that this was all his fault. He said coldly, that's because there's something wrong with your brain. Think about it. In the future, you should drive your car properly. Don't **** king talk so much nonsense. After being scolded again, The driver didn't say anything. He usually didn't talk, but Director Huang scolded him like a King corpse. If he talked too much, he would scold him for talking too much nonsense. This job is really not easy. About 5 minutes later, a Buick minivan rushed over from a distance with 7 or 8 cars behind it. After the cars saw Huang Haihe's car, they immediately stopped behind his car. For a moment, dust was flying, and no one opened the door to get out. Huang Haihe knew that his people had come. He quickly dialed a phone number. Minister Hao, thank you for your hard work. You and your brothers don't get out of the car. Follow my car and go directly to the destination. Minister Hao immediately nodded. Yes, Director Huang. We will follow your car directly. When we arrive at the scene, see clearly who is confronting Wan Chengkong, Huang Haihe said ruthlessly. After determining the target, immediately let the brothers take action. Tell the brothers that if they are seriously injured, crippled, or killed, it's on me. Don't be afraid of trouble. I understand, Director Huang. Minister Hao said. Today's person is trying to kill him. Yes, trying to kill him. The brothers who brought you said, don't underestimate the enemy. That kid can fight very well. Huang Haihe said. I don't know if what Wan Chengkong said is true or not. If it is true, the more than 20 drivers of the transport team were all taken down by that kid alone. When Minister Hao heard this, he was stunned. If that was the case, that kid was really good at fighting. But it didn't matter. It was useless even if he could fight. Those who could fight were also useless in front of so many people. After all, the drivers weren't thugs, and they didn't have weapons. The people he brought were all professional troublemakers. They could fight very well. Each of them was a master of 2 people. In addition, they had weapons in their hands, so they were even more fearless. No matter how hard a person's fist was, it was just a fist. The people he brought with him were all wielding real swords and sticks. The villagers must be very clear about how painful it was to be hit by them. Minister Hao didn't believe that he couldn't kill one person. Okay, then let's go. Follow me closely. Huang Haihe hung up the phone after he finished speaking. When he saw that the driver was still in a daze and didn't start the car, he was furious again. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I said? I said let's go. The driver quickly drove and marched into the village again. He had scolded enough today. He really couldn't stand it anymore. Minister Hao was even more arrogant. He directly turned on the loudspeaker installed illegally in the Buick commercial car and said to the other cars, brothers, follow closely behind Director Huang. Once you reach the place, listen to my command and take action directly. It's none of your business even if you kill or cripple him. You just have to take action and use the sticks. Go if you understand. The large fleet of vehicles was like a devil entering the village, causing the entire village to be in a state of chaos. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.